Hey guys. Eesh. It's been like 2 weeks since the last episode. Just, it's really been hard to find time to record with these boys. Got Nick and my brother Elijah on this episode, so stay tuned, check that out. Really appreciate you guys listening. This episode ended up being crazy fucking long. It just happened that way. Nick and we discussed pretty in depth our thoughts on basically every single Nolan movie. So, obviously, spoilers for all those, but if you want to hear all about that, stay tuned and check the time description in the description if you want to just check out the other parts of the episode. Thanks. Hey guys. Eesh. It's been like 2 weeks since the last episode. Just, it's really been hard to find time to record with these boys. Got Nick and my brother Elijah on this episode, so stay tuned, check that out. Really appreciate you guys listening. This episode ended up being crazy fucking long. It just happened that way. Nick and we discussed pretty in depth our thoughts on basically every single Nolan movie. So, obviously, spoilers for all those, but if you want to hear all about that, stay tuned and check the time description in the description if you want to just check out the other parts of the episode. Thanks. Alright, what's up and how's it going, guys? I'm your host, Jacob Nestor, and we are in the closet. This week we are going to be talking about Nolan. We're going to be running down our Nolan rank list and then going into review of Tenet. Obviously, this week I'm joined by my constant co-host, Nick. What's up, how's it going, dude?
What's up? It's good.
Chilling. How you been? You been?
You know.
You know, as good as you can be during these times. You know. But anyway, we're gonna do what we've been watching, spoiler free, little discussion. So, you got anything that you've been watching that you want to talk about?
I didn't get that last part. What?
The what we're watching. What you've been watching?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I've actually been watching a lot recently.
Tight. Yeah. Same
Um,
here.
but this is from a few weeks ago. But I've seen. So I finished the Watchmen HBO series. I've definitely. I don't think I've talked about it on here yet, but I've mentioned it to you.
Mhm.
Um, I basically knocked it out in a couple of days. It was
Yeah.
pretty fantastic.
Fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like I've always like dug Watchmen, but like right now I'm like really getting into it and shit, and
Mhm.
um, I like it a lot. I dig the lore and whatnot.
That's cool. That's
Um,
cool.
yeah.
I'm a big Watchmen fan as well. The show is
Yeah.
actually perfect. It's so fucking good. Regina King is
I
awesome. Tim Blake Nelson is awesome. And
Dude, Tim Lake Nelson's fucking. I love
bro,
that man.
that mask is just so damn cool.
Yeah, it's sick as fuck.
The episode,
Um,
little bit of spoilers for Watchmen. Skip ahead a little bit, but the episode where you get into his backstory of the night of like the squid, basically, is
oh yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
absolute insanity. That's scared shit out of me.
Yeah, no, I was like actually surprised that the show they actually showed the squid. I was like,
I'm glad
they're
they
not
went the
gonna
squid
actually do
route,
it.
and unlike the movie, it's a lot cooler, and the way that they built on it in the show was really fucking cool. I thought.
It's making me little moments like that in the TV show are making me appreciate the book more than the movie.
Yeah,
The graphic
for
novel is
sure.
much
I,
better
I, I
in my
definitely
opinion.
I definitely prefer the graphic novel over the movie. Movie's cool, in its own right,
Don't yeah, don't
but
get me wrong. It's probably my favorite Zack Snyder film.
wow,
Um,
okay, yeah,
but
definitely up there.
yeah,
But comic is on another level though, sadly.
I don't have a lot of Zack Snyder films that I like, so
Yeah, that's fair. Same here.
bar's kind of low. But
Honestly,
um,
Snyder cut though. Wait for that Snyder
also
cut.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that fucking Snyder cut.
The
I
like
got
5 hour
HBO Max
Justice League.
just
Yeah,
yeah, just
only
for
for
that.
that.
So
I obviously
yeah.
I am excited for it just because I'm a fucking loser nerd. But
Quick story. I've seen Justice League twice, ever.
whoa,
And I saw it on the
interesting.
same night. I saw it on the same night.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry.
I
Why?
when I was working at the theater, my shift ended and there was still 4 hours left. And this was the first time we ever did like an employee screening, except it was
Mhm.
going to be when the theater closed. So it was like 1 in the morning basically when we did this employee screening.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just wait around in the theater, and I watched. It was the premiere night of Justice League. I watched the first show at like 10 o'clock. I was like, holy shit, this fucking sucks. Also, actually, no, there was a show before the 10 o'clock show. And I know this because I went to go clean a theater and it had to finish, and it was the end credit scene with with the Flash and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Superman and the Flash. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then there was the other end credit scene, and then I
Mhm.
watched the movie and I was like, man, this movie's garbage.
Yeah.
And
That
then I
movie
watched it
sucks so bad.
again. I watched it again, like super delirious, tired out of my mind. Uh, and we watched that one with a bunch of employees, and it was like the greatest experience of all time. I love the movie,
Of course.
and then I remember how bad. Then I like actually watched it instead of like talking with everyone, and it's garbage. Fuck that movie. I hate
Absolutely
Justice League.
fuck that
I
movie.
probably
It's
I own
I
this. I own this movie, but I'll probably never see it.
of course, of
Well,
course.
we'll
I mean,
see.
it's just
We'll
another
see.
one of
But
those DC movies that you have that you'll never watch again, like Joker, you know?
yeah, honestly, Joker, I have no appeal to watch that again. So
This is just a
also
Joker
back
hate
on what I've
podcast.
seen this week. Yeah, fuck Joker. I've also seen. I know you've seen this Boy season two.
Yeah, I've been
It's a
watching The
pretty
Boys.
excellent start. It's a
It's
pretty excellent
so
start to
good.
the series.
Yep.
I do want to say I think episode four might have been the weakest, but
I
so
definitely
far,
agree. Episode 4 was the weakest, but I still am a really
but
big fan of that world and the series, and especially just
I agree.
Homelander is like the craziest like TV show character I've seen in like such a long time. Anthony Starr, I think is his name, just gives the most like unnerving performance ever. It's so
Yeah,
on.
I've never even seen this guy before.
I never had
Um,
either. But
he impresses the
there's
fuck
this
out of
other
me.
show that he's on that my dad really likes. Banshee, I think it's called. Um,
Oh, he was on Banshee. I've heard a lot
yeah,
about Banshee.
yeah,
That
I've
was
heard
on
it's really good.
Showtime, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I want to check that out.
Cool,
Uh,
cool.
he's dope as fuck. And then you've been concerned Lovecraft Country,
Yeah, Lovecraft Country's
of
been
course.
on the rotation.
hmm
Um,
I
I
haven't
haven't
seen episode
watched this
5
week's
yet.
episode yet.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
no,
I love
but
Country is
it's
great
great,
though. I'm still loving it. Still really
dude.
excited to see where it goes.
I almost cried, bro. I
Yeah,
almost cried in like episode three. It was weird.
episode 3 was
They're
the
fucking they're
best.
killing it with that
Yeah,
show.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Um, Side piece on Jonathan Majors. He got
I heard about
cast
the
in
news.
some big movie. What was it?
It was a Marvel movie, I think.
That's right.
Maybe a
He's
Marvel.
Ant Man.
Yeah, and
He's an Ant Man, and I think he's like
interesting.
possibly gonna be the villain. So, um,
Okay, word.
yeah, obviously love Jonathan Majors. Big fan of him. Um, oh,
Oh,
uh,
Journey Smollett is fucking
yeah,
amazing
Journey
too, man.
Smollett is doing a really
She's
good
so
job. Yeah.
beautiful, man. Holy
Uh,
shit.
fucking
This is the second.
yes
What? Go
tangent,
ahead.
but I just thought about this. So Jonathan Majors, the first role I saw him in that he stars in, The Last Black Man of San Francisco. You've seen that, right?
No, but you
Oh, you
definitely
haven't.
recommended it to me.
Oh, bro, I thought you had. Fucking amazing movie. I'm obsessed with this movie, and I learned recently that my roommate Rain, went to high school with the director, and he actually auditioned for the lead in the movie. Obviously, he didn't get it because he's not in the movie, but
Ugh,
that's just
that's crazy.
small world crazy. Like, Very yips.
That's cool as fuck though.
Yeah, shout out to my homie Ray.
Was the
He lives
was that a
downstairs, lead of Bluephoria, the boys band.
yo? Shout
Check them
out
out.
downstairs, bro. Straight
Shout out
up.
downstairs at my house, Bluephoria.
Um, that's cool as fuck. Was that a first time director? I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah, first time director.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
High
I'll
ass movie.
definitely
I'm
check
pretty
it
sure it's on
out.
Amazon Prime. Check that movie out.
Oh, if it's on Prime, I'll definitely see it.
On
So,
my top 10 of last year for sure. Big fan of that movie.
oh, nice,
Beautiful.
nice. Um,
You been watching anything else though?
continue.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, a few movies I've seen other than TV shows. Ready or Not.
Okay,
Did you see
okay, I've
that
heard of that.
last?
I haven't, but
Um,
I have a few friends
it,
who are pretty big fans of it actually.
yeah, it's a decent horror comedy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a fun to watch. Not too much. I mean, it's got great performances actually. If there's one thing to take away from it, the main's pretty awesome. The main
Mm-hmm.
character, she's I forget her name. I don't know, I feel retarded, but like
Margot
she's
Robbie look alike. I don't
awesome.
know.
Kinda, yeah. I forgot.
No, she,
She's been in a
uh,
few things.
she. I've heard that she does a really good job in the role. It looks like a good movie.
I'm just gonna look her up really quickly, but yeah, Ready or Not is I actually don't want to give the premise away, but it's
Yeah, I mean,
basically
I'll describe it. I'll describe it from my point of view, the not non-spoiler point of view that I
that's a good
will
idea.
give
That's a
anything
good
away.
idea. Go for it.
It's a woman getting married into a super rich family who owns like a game monopoly company, basically, and then shit starts to go sideways at like their dinner.
Yeah,
That's what it looks like
the
from
best
the
way to
trailer
put
that I
it.
saw. Looks
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
horror comedy.
Samara Weaving.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I knew I knew I seen her in a few shows. She
Mhm.
was in that babysitter movie.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
remember that movie.
They just released a sequel to it on Netflix, actually.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, I
Do they have a
haven't
bunch
seen
of
it.
TikTok characters in it? Bunch of
Probably
TikTok
they
people.
honestly probably got
Do,
some TikTok actors, I'd assume.
do you remember?
I got
You remember the
to
first one
admit,
had like King Batch or whatever?
yeah, I enjoyed the first one. It's cheesy, it's dumb, it's fun though. I enjoyed it.
Oh shit.
I think it was kind of fun.
I think it's fried. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope the second one is campy and fun like the first. I mean, I definitely want to check it out. I'm waiting until we get into October though. That's when I'll start only watching horror movies for a month. You know.
Oh, I would love to do a horror pod.
Oh,
Um,
we'll probably we definitely gotta do a few. I want to do an Evil Dead episode for sure.
hell yeah. I would love to watch
A
those
few
with you
more. We're
too.
gonna be doing those in October, definitely. I'm gonna be doing a
Okay, fuck yeah.
episode. Really excited about that. Um, I've been watching Twin Peaks again recently. Or
Have you ever seen the movie?
so yeah, yeah. So I'd seen the series, the original two seasons, a few months ago, and then it ended.
Yeah.
I had to like decompress for a few months because I was just like, bruh. But and then recently, like a few days ago, I finally watched the movie Fire Walk with Me. Blew my ass away. Loved it. Um, and then I'm finally working my way through the Return series now. And so when I'm done through with that, probably in a few, I don't know, 2 or 3 episodes from now, um, doing a Twin Peaks episode. Actually, I got a random Twitter slash letterboxed mutual buddy, sort of, that I've followed for a while, who's a massive Twin Peaks fan, and I reached out to him the other day, and he's gonna be hopping on, so that should be cool.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
looking forward to it
Um,
there, but
that's it
yeah,
for my list. I've seen a lot more than that, but I'm gonna keep it for next week, I think.
right on. Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
definitely am saving a few for next week as well. But yeah, same here with the boys in Lovecraft Country. Really been enjoying that. Um, and I finally watched Synecdoche, New York. Charlie Kaufman. I'm a massive Charlie Kaufman fan. Uh, I'd only seen first movie I watched of him, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Absolutely loved it, and then adaptation and being John Malkovich, and I finally caught Synecdoche, New York, and that at the time was my favorite Kaufman movie. And then I also watched I'm Thinking of Ending Things, his new one on Netflix, and I don't know, but I might like it more. I'm still thinking about it, but we're gonna be discussing
Is it
next week.
weirder? Is it more
It's
confusing?
crazy, but I you need to watch it because
Yeah,
we're doing a Kaufman episode.
yeah.
So get ready for that. You got to start binging those Kaufman movies. I got a few left to watch. I haven't seen Human Nature, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, and Anomalisa, so I'm excited to check those out.
Are those all he directed all those or
No. So he wrote Being John Malkovich, adaptation, Human Nature, Confessions,
no? But I know
and
that.
Eternal
But which
Sunshine,
ones
and
have
then he wrote
he's
and
only directed like
directed.
three,
Yeah, and
right?
then he wrote and directed Synecdoche, New York, Anomalisa, which he co-directed, and then
Right.
also co-wrote it, and then he solo directed and wrote. I'm thinking of ending things. His new one.
Okay,
Yep.
that's right.
I'm a massive Kaufman fan. Very excited to talk about him next week, though. Love Snake.
Yeah.
This first time I watched it. I'm definitely gonna rewatch all of his movies before we discuss them again. But another movie I watched. I was kind of telling you about this last week, but The King, the Timothy Chalamet Pattinson Netflix movie. Man, I was excited for this. It was just so disappointing. I thought, I don't know. I really
Damn.
didn't enjoy it. Like, the performances were cool, and there were some entertaining stuff throughout, but character motivations I thought were just poorly done. I thought it was just really poorly paced, and honestly, poorly shot as well. I
Damn.
I just in the writing, I don't know. I gave it a 5 on Letterboxd, or 5 out of 10 to so I guess on Letterboxd. Sorry, not a 5 on Letterboxd. It's a 2.5 stars on Letterboxd, but like a 5 out of 10 probably. You know, it had some enjoyable stuff in it, but I wasn't a big fan. Other people love it though. And then
Really?
yeah,
Is it like what's it is it regarded as good by audience
yeah,
or something? I don't
I
understand.
think most people enjoyed it. I honestly don't know why. I honestly don't know why.
Okay.
I thought the writing and characters were just so uninteresting and not well written, and so it just made me not able to actually care about what was going on. And it's
Yeah.
especially like with a really slow movie, which I'm obviously loving and fine movies.
That's what
But if
I've
you
heard
don't
about it
care
is
about the
it's way too
characters, then
slow.
it's like
Yeah.
hard to get through.
Yeah. Yeah. So I won't be checking out The
Yeah,
King on
yeah. So
Netflix.
maybe put that on the back
Um
burner for now.
yeah.
Yeah, I gotta catch up on other things
What
though. I
else have you seen?
so I've been. Have you ever heard of Les Blank? He's
No.
a documentarian. So I've only been watching him recently. He has a bunch of his films on a Criterion, and so he has a lot
Okay.
of like short documentaries, sort of like under an hour. But the one that he's most well known for is a full feature, like an hour and a half documentary on the making of Fitzcarraldo, the Werner Herzog movie. I don't know if you've heard of that movie, but it's just
Mhm.
the story of how it got filmed, and that's a very famous documentary. I haven't seen that one, but I've been checking out some of his other work, and so I finally caught The Blues According to Lightning Hopkins, one of the most influential, best blues artists of all time. And so this was my second Les Blank documentary. A few months ago, I watched A Well Spent Life, and it follows one of the best guitarists of all time, Mance Lipcomb, I believe is how it's pronounced. His name is pronounced. Um, and I absolutely loved that. Just a really good, like, meditative look on this really interesting guy. And this movie is basically it's sort of the same story about blues, what A Well Spent Life was as well. It's about blues itself, but it's also a deep dive into this character, A Well Spent Life of Mance Lipcomb, this one being of Lightning Hopkins, and he's basically like the opposite side of Mance Lipcomb. He's like this sort of out there,
Mm.
brass guy, very kind of extroverted, outgoing, and Mance was more of like a kind of settled down, been with the same woman for like 75 years, type beat, you know? Um, but I've just been a really big fan of Les Blank's filming style. His documentaries are just so fucking interesting. I'm really excited to check out more. I don't, you know, there's not much to it, like I said, it's just really a deep dive into these characters and the idea of what blues is, which I'm a massive fan of that genre and style of music. So if you are, I highly recommend checking those out on Criterion. Less blank stuff. I'm excited to check out more of his documentaries too. He has a bunch on just like a bunch of different topics. Really interesting guy for sure.
Nice.
Hmm.
Very cool.
And then the other thing that I
Um,
also caught on Criterion is I caught a bunch of Bill Plimpton shorts. Bill Plimpton is an animator. He is a surrealist animator from Portland, Oregon. Shout out Oregon. He's been making shit since like the 80s. He has a few features,
fuck
like
Portland,
a
man.
bunch of animated shorts, and he has a collection of animated shorts on Criterion. And he has a bunch more, and they're actually all on YouTube. But I decided I only ended up watching the ones that were on Criterion, and then I made
Interesting.
a list on my Letterboxd. You want to check that out? A little ranking of all of them. There are 17? 15 of his shorts on the Criterion channel, and I did on my Letterboxd just a little review on each of them. My favorite one, which is the most crude, weird one of them all, is How to Make Love to a Woman. It's incredibly weird, but I highly recommend checking out all of Bill Plimpton's animated shorts. They're obviously very short, and his style is super, super unique and, like I said, very surreal art. And it's just, I'm a big fan of him. I'm really excited to check out his features and a lot of his other animated shorts because his style and his eye for story is just really, really crazy, honestly. Really interesting guy. Bill Plimpton.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Check him out.
cool.
Yeah. That's what I've been watching this past while, and then obviously been binging Nolan, getting ready for this list, which we're gonna go in.
Yeah.
Look at that fucking segue. Nolan ranked list. We're gonna get into it. So since there's so many, there's 11 Nolan films we're gonna talk about, and it is from here on out. Spoilers on all of them. We're not gonna hold back on any of them. So if you
Damn. Okay.
yeah, if you haven't
Let's
seen
do
any
it.
of these Nolan movies, we're not gonna do deep dives on all of them, but I'm just warning you right now because it's gonna happen when we're comparing all of them. It's just gonna happen. But how we're gonna be doing it is we're gonna start at the bottom, and me and Nick are just gonna take turns listing what our films are in the ranked order from the bottom up, and then once the film comes up that we've both mentioned, then we'll start discussing it. So if that doesn't make sense, you'll understand it when we're actually doing it. So I'm gonna start.
All right.
My bottom one Nolan film is Memento. What about you? What's your 11? Your bottom Nolan?
His first movie, Following.
Following. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Then at number 10 for me is Interstellar.
I got Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. Okay, okay, interesting. We got a very different list it's looking like already.
I feel like you could have millions of lists with Nolan movies.
Oh, for sure,
It's so
for
I
sure.
feel like they're all super subjective,
Oh, definitely. Um,
except for a few.
yeah. My next one, Dark Knight.
Which one?
Dark Knight.
Okay, I have Dark Knight Rises as number 9.
Okay, okay,
It's
okay.
funny.
We're getting close. We're getting close to having one matchup. I think. My next one. I know this isn't your place, but mine is Tenet.
Was this number 8?
Mm-hmm.
We may not match up. I have Insomnia as number 8.
Insomnia.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, wow.
yeah.
Well, I know for our number 7, we're finally gonna get into one that matches up. At number 7, I have Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, I am
Okay.
a big fan of Dark Knight Rises. Obviously, I don't think
Oh
as Batman Begins, obviously, because I don't have it yet on my list. But I do think it is better than the Dark Knight. I believe we go more into it on our last podcast, obviously the Batman episode. but I really think the way that The Dark Knight ties up the series is just really, really flawless. Does it in just such a beautiful way. And it also, I think, is essential to making the series interesting. Like I kind of discussed, I really think Dark Knight falls apart in a lot of places and only kind of works with the addition of Dark Knight Rises. Honestly, it makes me like it more. I love Tom Hardy. He's pro. I don't know if I like him more than Joker in Dark Knight, but he's definitely like tied with him. I'm a really big fan of Tom
I mean,
performance and Bane.
I think if anything, Nolan brought out uh, Joker. I'm gonna exclude Batman Begins from this because, well, I know you know what. I'll bring Ra's al Ghul. He brought Ra's al Ghul. He brought Joker, and he brought Bane, which are very iconic characters. And I thought he fucking kicked it.
I
I
agree.
think
I agree.
he
I love all three
it,
of them. But it's hard to place them. I think though. I don't.
I
I
think
think
Bane's like really
I
fucking awesome
yeah. I
in
think
this
Bane
movie.
and Tom Hardy's Bane is a lot better and closer to the level of Heath Ledger's Joker than
I might even
discuss.
I might even say like I think the big opening scene in Dark Knight Rises is better than Dark Knight.
I agree. No,
It's so
I
fucking
definitely agree on
cool.
that. It's so
So
fucking
fucking cool.
cool. Yeah, there's so many awesome scenes. The fight scenes between Bane and Batman and The Dark Knight are by far the best fight scenes that Nolan has ever directed.
Oh, interesting.
Actually,
Yeah,
no.
maybe.
Tenet beats it out.
I
Tenet beats it out, I think.
I
But that's it for me.
I think that hallway scene in Inception murders everything he's ever done. But
No, you're right.
um,
You're right. You're right.
so what did you
It's
have
up. It's
Dark Knight
definitely up
Rises
there.
at?
It was
I
my
agree.
number 7.
Okay, so Dark Knight Rises was my number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like it a lot. Um, but I definitely think it falls short from a lot of it was a giant gap between the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Uh, and the expectations were high, and I remember going to seeing it in theaters when I was like 12 years old, and I loved it. And then
It blew me
rewatching it,
away.
yeah, it was amazing. I fucking loved it, and I still do. But rewatching it, years later, watching them in a series, there's a lot of differences from the Dark Knight Rises, from the Dark Knight that I just don't really appreciate. I think uh, Gotham feels much different in Dark Knight Rises. It feels drastically different from the first one, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Um, I think the storyline with Batman getting his back broken could have been done better. Um, it
That's
also
fair.
felt like it also felt like the Ra's al Ghul element at the end of it was I don't know, kind of
I agree.
half-handed and just it felt weird. But in
I agree
general,
with that.
I fucking like this movie. I love everyone that's in it. I don't know. I can't say too much about it other than a few of those things. So yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I definitely think that Dark Knight Rises is a lot better than people give it credit for. Um,
I agree.
like, I don't know. For some reason, throughout the years, I convinced myself that I didn't enjoy it actually, just because of throughout my younger teenager years, I guess. I was
Mm.
just, I had a lot of movie opinions that were just not my opinions, and that was definitely one of them. And I'm so happy I revisited it because I loved it so much. But
Yeah.
it's not my favorite Nolan
I would
movie. It
also
is
say
at number 7.
out of
It does have lots of faults, I do think, and it's not a perfect movie.
yeah.
I do think it's
Well, that's
basically on level
sorry. Go ahead.
with Dark Knight. Like, if you guys remember last week, I rated Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises all out of 7 out of 10, and I have Tenet in between that, so I also have Tenet based spoiler Tenet as a 7 out of 10. And these are the bottom of the list, so obviously I don't really think that there's any bad
This is like halfway,
movies.
halfway almost.
Well, I mean, going down
7.
Dark Knight, which I have at 8 out of 11, I still consider it
Right.
a 10. So it's like, you know, the list in these like the bottom part was honestly hard for me to kind of define.
I feel that, yeah.
It was in the bottom half of the list. It was a lot harder for me than the top half, which was a lot more solidified for me before the re
I agree.
all these movies, and then um, kind of solidified.
It made me realize, like, goddamn, like Nolan's like one of my favorite directors. Probably he's really amazing at what he does. His craft is
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm excited for it.
so that was your number 7 was Dark
Yep.
Knight Rises.
Yeah,
My
and then
number
we might
7
as well.
is Memento.
Oh, okay,
So I
okay,
guess we can get into
okay.
that.
Yeah, let's get into Memento. So obviously,
Was it Memento your number 12, number
I
11?
have Memento at my number 11, my bottom Nolan,
Interesting.
and I gotta say, this is the only Nolan movie I I really don't want to rewatch ever again. So I actually watched this twice.
Interesting.
I watched it for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and I was enjoying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was enjoying it all the way through. This and some I still really admire the structure of it, and I think that's interesting. And I think Guy Pearce is pretty interesting in it, and I love Joey Pants. He's funny, whatever. Obviously that's not his fucking name. I don't know his real name. It's
Yeah.
Joey Pants or something, but Joey Pants.
That's a shitty character name. What the fuck was he thinking when he wrote that? Joey
but
Pants.
but no, that's not his real. That's not the real character's name. No,
Yeah. Oh, what?
no, that's the actor's name. That's the actor's name. I don't know that the actor is like
Yo,
Joey
someone named
Pants
their
or
kid
some.
Joey Pants. Oh my god.
Basically, it's Joey fucking Pants, bro. But
That's funny as hell.
I
Keep
mean,
going.
but
Go
I
ahead.
don't. The way that the movie wraps up with the twist and like everything that Teddy ends up revealing at the end and kind of how it comes together, I just really don't fucking enjoy. And I not
Does it
I
feel anticlimactic to you?
it feels really anticlimactic.
Yeah,
And
I agree, bro.
and then with that, so I watched it again. I was so frustrated with how like much I just didn't get. Like I understand the movie. I understand the plot points. I know what happens, but for some reason like there's so many points in this movie that I think are just stupid, but also don't really make any sense. I on right after the first watch, I was like, okay, so he doesn't have the condition, right? Like he's been faking it. He doesn't have the condition. But
Oh, interesting.
if he is faking it, then all of these fucking plot points in it don't fucking make any sense. But all of these other ones do make sense and are a lot better. But then I thought about it from the perspective of no, he does have the issue actually. But then thinking
Hmm.
that way, it made a bunch of other plot points not make sense. And so I'm trying to rationalize it in these two different interpretations, and in both of them, there's just so many random plot points and character motivations and stuff that happen in the movie that I think just either don't make sense and are just really just fucking stupid. And
Yeah.
said I rewatched it. I watched it like 2 or 3 days after the first viewing, and I don't know. Maybe the movie's just not for me, but I really just think the story is just kind of fucking stupid and just not super well written.
Yeah. It's my number 7. Um. Uh. Because I think it's thematically it's very cool. I think the characters are pretty interesting. I think a lot of the plot devices like the tattoos and the Polaroids are very cool. But
I
I gotta
agree.
agree with you, man. The story is pretty fucking weak in this movie, and uh, it's held together by the cool concept of it being
Exactly. That's
like,
why in the first watch I was really
yeah,
enjoying it until the revelation happens, and then I'm like, okay, I don't fucking care.
yeah. But it is that concept of it being like backwards that I dig it, and
Uh-huh.
I don't know, man.
The story structure is
It's my
definitely
number
really
seven.
interesting, and I think it really works in its favor of the thing that they're going for with putting you in his shoes of the confusion and like
Yeah,
I
this
I
is
think really works, and I thought it was actually really cool. It's just
I
sad that
I
the
agree, but
story and script are just kind of fucking lame and don't hold it up. It's a cool
I
and
agree.
that's how
Yeah.
it all started. You know, it's technically an adaptation of the short novel or short story by his brother Jonathan Nolan, and
Oh yeah.
it's adapted from that, yes, but they were written at the same time actually. So Jonathan Nolan he pitched it to Chris. He like just told him about the idea that he had, and they were like, "Oh, that's really interesting." And then they both went off and wrote like their separate versions of it, basically. And so they're
Hmm.
in their own ways. I haven't read the short story, and so
I
it's
didn't know
really
about
just
this. This is
like,
interesting.
yeah, it's really just like he had this cool idea but it failed to execute with building a cool story and like interesting characters that you actually care about. I really there's no like
Yeah,
emotional depth.
that
I
is
really
something
don't care
about
about any of the
Memento.
characters. Like
Yeah, I just don't give a fuck
they're
about
all just
anyone.
plot devices, which is a big
Yeah.
criticism I have of a lot of Nolan movies, and it's the most blatant version of it in Memento for sure.
I actually agree with that. Yeah, I think when Nolan likes to put concepts and big ideas, and he does tend to use his characters as uh like players on a chessboard rather than actual
Hmm.
actors with emotion and feeling. So I agree with what you say on Memento, but it is my number seven.
Hmm.
What is your number six, Jacob?
My number six is Batman Begins.
Okay,
So yeah, we'll
you want to talk
get
about
into
that?
yeah we'll get into Batman Begins. So obviously I have this as my favorite Batman movie of the trilogy. Obviously it was very hard to do spot list like I was saying. They're all like 7 out of 10s. But I mean I'm thinking about this list. How I'm building this list really is like what I'd want to rewatch the most. You know, like uh,
Hmm,
uh, all of these, like from here on out, I would rewatch
I agree.
any time, and I enjoy it. Everything below,
I think
like
that's
even though
probably
I
about
do
how I set
enjoy
up my
Dark Knight
list too. I
Rises a
think.
lot, but Dark Knight Rises and below, all those movies like are cool, and I did enjoy them in some of their own rights, besides maybe Memento. Uh, but Batman Begins, I think it's just so fucking enjoyable. Like I said, I do talk about it a lot in the last podcast, but the world building in the first in Batman Begins is just so interesting to me, and the really just deep character dive that they go into with Bruce Wayne as a character in this movie is just so fucking good. I really think a lot of Batman movies do kind of
Hmm.
put the character of Bruce Wayne on the back burner, um, which is weird because obviously he's such an integral part to the Batman character because he literally is Batman. But there's
That's a theme throughout the series. I would say like Bruce Wayne becomes less and less more like likable as Bruce Wayne.
yeah,
And you're
that's
like,
true.
just fucking put on the suit, dude, and go beat
Hmm.
up some homeless people already. Like we don't care about this.
Yeah, honestly,
Um,
but
but I
yeah,
agree, he's much better
I
as
really
Bruce
just
Wayne
think
in the
Batman
first one.
Begins is just so fucking enjoyable. Everything down to
Yeah.
that whole third act with like the town going crazy and shit like that, and like the whole train and everything. It's just so fucking awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite third act of any of the Batman movies, of the Batman trilogy. I mean, um, or the Dark Knight trilogy rather. And I just think it's such an interesting. It's like a big budget art house movie almost. Like it's it's just a super fun, interesting movie that I think works on a lot of levels, and I think it's just honestly really fun to rewatch it as well. I love Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Love Cillian Murphy. Is I think how you pronounce his name. Uh, so fucking
Yeah, I was
pronunciations. I'm
gonna
saying
say
that a lot
Killian
this episode.
Murphy as
Killian Murphy.
Killian. Yeah, it's Killian, but I think. Cillian Murphy as Dr. Crane is really fucking cool.
Yeah,
I do
he's
wish he had a little
awesome.
bit more screen time, but that's okay. I
I
thought it
loved
was
how they brought him
awesome that they
back
brought
in
him.
Dark.
Yeah,
So
I fucking
so
love that shit.
awesome. Oh gosh, the whole
That was a great
stuff
scene.
is fucking sick. It's so cool.
Um, I fucking yeah. So it's my number 11, but I dig Batman Begins a lot, man.
Wait, you had
It was
Batman Begins at your
probably the first.
11? That's your bottom?
It's my 11. Yeah.
I thought you had Following at your bottom.
No, no, no. Sorry, it's my number 10. I keep
Okay.
thinking there's 12 Nolan movies. It's my number 10. So and so I think it's the first one I watched. My first ever like Batman movie that I ever watched as a kid.
That
Because
you're,
it
yeah.
came out when I was like around that age when I started watching like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it,
uh
2006,
movies
2008, I
more.
think, is when it came
No,
out.
2008 was Dark Knight. I think it was 2004. Or
Let me check.
2000. It might have been 2005 actually.
Hmm.
But yeah, Batman Begins is sick. It's a great
2005,
starter
yeah.
to Nolan's trilogy. And I want to say we were talking about Memento before. I think Nolan got Batman because of Memento.
Oh,
I'm not
for sure.
sure,
People
but I'm pretty
love,
sure he got
people
Batman.
love Memento. And I
Yeah.
get it, but I don't.
No, I was just saying I'm pretty sure it's the same studio that produced both,
Well,
and they were like,
no, I
well,
think
"Here you go." Warner Brothers was like, "Here you go."
his first big budget movie, his transition into being the Nolan that we know today was Insomnia. 'Cause he went
Ah,
no
we'll
budget
talk about
Memento.
Insomnia.
We'll talk
We'll
about
talk about
Insomnia,
Insomnia, but I
obviously.
feel like it's a different Nolan than what we have today. But
Okay,
yeah,
Insomnia is totally different, but that was
we'll
the
talk
first
about
like
it.
big budget
That
Nolan though. That is the
No, I agree. Yeah, that's true. That's
studio.
true.
I'm pretty sure that's with Warner Brothers as well, which is
Yeah, he
who
worked
he's
with
worked
them
with
almost
literally like all of his
exclusively.
movies. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he started working with them on Insomnia.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. But Batman Begins is great. Uh, fucking Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul is pretty badass for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You're right about that train scene. I forgot about it actually. I haven't seen the movie in a few years, but
It's so
uh,
cool.
it's really yeah. I remember it being really good. Um, yeah, there's not much to say about it. This
Even though
movie
the
also
train
feels
scene is,
very compact, and I think that's really cool thing.
mm-hmm,
Because after the Dark Knight, they definitely expanded it, and then Dark Knight Rises, obviously, they went into the whole world. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I think it's really good, and
mm-hmm,
it's my number 11 because it's at least one of my least favorite Nolan movies because
mm-hmm.
it's just
That's fair.
I don't know. It's hard to say why I don't like Nolan movies. I like a lot of his movies, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
My number six. That was your number six, right?
yep.
My number six is Dunkirk.
Oh,
Uh, yeah.
okay. Jeez. Okay.
What?
Whatever. Six, bro. That's low for Dunkirk,
Well, it's good. I know it's probably your number one, isn't it?
bro.
What's your number five?
My number five is Following, bro.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Following. So I watched Following. Obviously, this was my first time watching it. It was probably like 2 weeks ago. Um,
Oh, nice.
I really enjoyed Following, actually. There's a lot of stuff. It's very Nolan-esque, and a lot of his stuff, his writing, and like the story structure is obviously very reminiscent of what he does in a lot of his movies. And a lot of people think
Mm,
it is sort of like him testing out a lot of his shit beforehand, but I'd say that he actually does it better in this movie than he does in a lot of others, like in Memento and such. I think the linear story um, works really well in this movie to help build tension and also build interest because this is a noir
mm.
movie. And
Oh yeah.
a lot of other Nolan movies, you can consider Memento a noir as well, but this is a lot more like really noir. Like it really has that like femme fatale character, like deep old classic noir style, and it really works
Mm-hmm.
in this movie, and I love that style of filmmaking. And I think the story is just really interesting the way that it plays out. Um, It honestly got me at a few points. Like I was like, oh, like that was interesting. The way that it called back to
Mm-hmm.
things, um, like the way that it tied up with Cobb side piece. Cool that he used Cobb as a character in this first movie, and then brought back the name Cobb for Leo's character in Inception. Little Easter egg.
Oh, interesting.
I noticed that. I was like, oh, nice. The secondary character,
Yeah.
his name is Cobb. But the way that they tie it in his story with the woman and the gangsters and stuff like that, I thought was just super interesting, actually. Um, the fight scene is really bad. I would,
Yeah.
but that's one
It's
fucking little
very
scene.
it.
It's super
I
bad.
I, I want to mention that because I think it's funny. Because I think it took Nolan a little bit to get to the point where he started getting better at fight scenes and
Oh,
action scenes in
definitely. Like,
general.
I mean,
So
I don't think he
I
got
thought
good
it
at
was.
fight scenes until Dark Knight Rises. I don't like Dark
I
Knight personally.
agree. I agree. I would say Inception, but I agree. And
Oh, I forgot
I
Inception
think
came out
it's
first.
funny. I think it's funny that his style is shown so abruptly in following
It's
with that.
yeah, it's so clear his style in it, but it's weird because like I said, I don't like that style in a lot of his other movies, but it works for me really well in this story because I did find the characters, like that lead character, I think it's just titled like Young Man or something. I thought he was a really
Hmm.
interesting character, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
and the way that it played with your emotions of like feeling for him, but he also was kind of like a piece of shit, so you don't feel for him, and like I don't know, and the scenes of them,
He is a piece of shit. Like it's kind of
he
hard
totally is. He
to
totally is a piece of
root
shit.
for him.
But
He's
like they
weird as fuck,
almost make you
man.
feel bad
He's a
for him.
weirdo.
It's weird. Like I think it's impressive that they made me feel a little bit bad for him when he's a total
Oh
fucking
yeah.
a creep. Um,
I think his
really think that
relationship
I
with
really thought this
other creep characters are very cool too.
Yeah,
Um, I,
the scenes of him and Cobb going through the apartments, like when Cobb
mm-hmm.
first like kind of telling him like how to do this job, I thought was really interesting. In the way that
Yeah.
ties back with why Cobb was teaching him that shit, I did think that was kind of annoying at that time. I'm like, okay, bro, he's literally just going like a expository rant about like what he does to him. But then it makes
Mm-hmm.
why he was teaching him to do that job to kind of it was to frame him for these other murders and shit like that. Like I thought that was really cool. And that fucking I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. That was done really well, and I just really think the story is really interesting in this movie. I thought it was just really well done, actually.
I agree. Yeah. No.
The direction isn't on
Well,
par. It's definitely probably not as well directed as a lot of his other movies, I think.
I'm gonna say it's his weakest. That's why it's my number 11.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put it there. I think it's Nolan, like growing into being Nolan. It's the first steps of his career, and I think it's fascinating to watch. The fall. I haven't actually seen it in a few years. I did like a
Highly
Nolan binge,
recommend rewatching it.
like
Yeah.
when I was out of high school. I was like, I'm just gonna
Uh,
watch all of Nolan right now, and and the following was a part of that. And I haven't seen it since, but it was really short. It was like a TV episode. It felt like it
yeah,
was
I
like
think
70 minutes.
it's like
Um,
right an hour or something like that. Or
the
like,
format's really interesting. It's very film studenty. I think it's really good, and but it's my number 11 because it's uh it's got a lot of flaws, I would say, directing wise,
mhm.
and it's definitely not Nolan's best camera work.
Yeah, 100% agree.
But I don't know. It
The
was
thing
his
that holds
first
it down
film,
for me
so like
really is
I
that
didn't.
story and characters.
I agree completely, but it
Hmm.
is my number 11 because of that. Because I think Nolan 100% grew into this,
Yeah. Oh,
but like
oh, you kind of cut out right there.
sophisticated, if you know what I mean.
He kind of,
Oh,
sorry, you kind of cut out right there. He kind of grew into,
his action grew sophisticated, if you know what I'm saying,
hmm
and Nolan became Chris
And
Nolan
yeah, and
because of that.
I
And
see all those things for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I really just enjoy it.
I think it's a great movie though. And
Hmm.
that was
No bad
which
Nolan
one was that?
movies.
That was your number five.
Yeah, that was my.
That was your number five. Okay.
Yep.
My number five is Tenet.
Tenet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. So okay, like hey, even though I did say we're gonna go spoilers and shit like that, we're not gonna go
Oh wait,
too much right now
which one was Tenet
because Tenet I had
for you?
at my number 7.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Or sorry,
nice.
8. Sorry, 8. Number 8. It was it's higher than the
Okay.
Knight but lower than Dark Knight Rises. Yeah,
Yeah,
we I don't want to go too
side
much
note. I
into
wanna.
Tenet since we do to discuss it for like an hour in the the second half of this podcast. But um, Tenet's dope though. Tenet's dope.
Tenet's awesome, man. I feel like Tenet might go higher in my list as the years go
Mm,
by.
yeah, I'm excited
I
to
feel I
rewatch
feel
it.
I feel like I need to see it one more time with subtitles. Watching it a second time, it was so much better.
Yeah.
And maybe because it was an IMAX, I liked it a lot more. But it's like one of my fucking favorite Nolan movies, and it might be recency bias, but it's good, man. I dig it. I
Hmm.
really do.
That's cool. That's cool.
Um, yeah, we
Hmm.
talked about it in the
Yeah, we talked
earlier
about it a
half.
lot. Our thoughts in the second half, but that's that. I'll move on to my number
Oh,
four.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
really quickly, like Loki wanted to like talk to you about maybe taking the Dark Knight series out because I feel like it kind of fucked on my list a bit, and
interesting.
I don't know because I feel like I can have all those movies together except for I don't know. I just feel like it like I don't know. It was a franchise that he did, and
Mm,
I
that's
feel
fair.
like you could bunch them together, but maybe
Let's
not. I don't
finish the
know.
list and then we'll run through it without those movies in it and just see how they look with that.
Okay, sure, that'll be interesting.
Let's
Uh,
finish how we have these ranked though. At least since we're in the.
so Tenet was my number five.
Yep.
My number four is Inception,
Ooh, okay.
2010.
Okay, Inception. Right
Inception.
on. Right on. Um,
God damn, Inception's awesome, man.
Inception's that dope.
This is where, like,
Yo, hold
after
on. Not
Fast Five,
Inception
this
yet.
is where we're getting to
Yeah.
awesome Nolan
The
movies.
yeah. This is these top 4 are fucking awesome.
Yeah, bro.
I love these top 4. I will rewatch these anytime. My number 4 though is Insomnia. Uh, well, have
Okay.
you on your list yet?
I Yeah, Insomnia was, I believe, my number eight. Oops.
8.
Yep,
Okay.
number
Okay.
eight.
Yeah. So this was my first viewing of Insomnia. Again, watched it like 2 weeks ago. I was a really big fan of this movie. As I've discussed a lot, I am not a big fan of most of Nolan's scripts. I just don't think Nolan's
Mm.
a super good writer. I really don't like his writing style. And this is the one movie that he did where he didn't write the script. I need to look up who wrote the script real quick. But
This is
uh,
adapted, isn't it?
it is. It's an
Yeah.
adapted from a Swedish movie, I think.
Oh.
Um,
Is that why it's all fucking
pretty
stone?
different though. I've heard some of the differences. Hilary
Okay.
Seitz is the writer. Uh,
So.
do not look at her IMDb though. The only other credit is Eagle Eye. Remember?
Oh, jeez.
But this movie is fucking sick, and I'm a really big fan of the writing of this movie. It's like the best part.
Mm-hmm.
The story in this movie is just so fucking interesting. Al Pacino and Robin Williams do such a job. They're really,
This is an
really interesting
interesting pair up,
characters.
isn't it, man?
It's
Of cat and
such an
mouse. This is
interesting
such an
pair up. Robin
interesting
Williams,
pair up.
like, yeah, in this type of role, this like weird kind of fucked up dude as well. Like he does it really well. He's really unsettling in this movie. Um,
Robin Williams, this was at the time of his career. He was taking just about every role that was given to him. That's why he had movies like RV and shit like that. And
mhm.
this was one of those movies that he was doing that was like super dramatic. He was playing like a weirdo character. And I don't know, man. Like, this is like So I watched this for the first time a few years ago, but watching it recently, I had a lot more to think about it, and it's a fucking weird movie for Christopher Nolan to make
It
because, as you
is.
said, like the story's good and like
It's like a
characters are
well
fucking
written
intriguing, you
story,
know?
and like the characters like speak like real humans, and like they have like character
It,
motivations, and like I understand them and feel for them. Like,
I I I agree. I would say like Tenet is probably like the most Nolan movie. I
yes,
feel
for
like
sure.
Insomnia is like the most non-Nolan movie, and like
It's definitely
it
the yeah.
felt like it felt like he was trying to go. He was like doing his thing, but it felt like he was trying to play it safe.
It's a super
You
interesting movie in his filmography. Like I was saying, this is the
yeah.
first big budget movie he did. Did following
Second movie.
this movie. And you can tell right off the fucking bat in this movie. Like one of the first shots is like this shot of this plane,
Oh yeah.
the plane flying in, and it's obviously
hmm
another. It's a plane shot as well. And it's instantly you can tell the colors, the visuals, the way it's framed, the like wide shots, the fact that it's a fucking plane
It's a very
shot.
blue
It's like,
movie.
yeah, I love the colors in this movie. It's very
Oh my god, yeah.
in like dark, but like the way that it mixes the dark with the light, because obviously the town, it's like always bright, always like seems like
hmm
basically super interesting. Love the cinematography.
Always seems like it's like at 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
like
Um, the way that they use smoke in this movie is really interesting as well, especially during that one.
yes.
The chase scene, obviously, is just the coolest fucking scene. And the way he uses smoke in that scene is just unreal. I don't know how he fucking was able to control it that well with the visuals, but it's just so, so cool. Um, yeah, I love how this movie is shot. It's one of Nolan's
Oh my god, yeah.
movies, I think.
It's framed really amazingly.
hmm
Was it Nolan on the camera or was someone else
Uh,
the
I'd have to check.
cinematographer?
Yeah. Let me see.
Cinematography was amazing, man.
Cinematography. I love the cinematography. Oh yeah, this Wally Pfister. Wally Pfister did this.
Oh, word.
Obviously,
Okay.
like all of other Nolan movies,
Yep.
basically. Inception, Dark Knight, Prestige. He's done like every Nolan movie practically. Um,
This was your number
this
four,
is my
right?
number four. Yeah.
So this is my number eight. I like Insomnia a lot. Because of the story, I think it's very intriguing, and I fucking love the character. Seeing old ass Al Pacino chase
Yeah. Al Pacino,
after
like
Robin Williams is amazing.
giving a shit in a role in the 2000s, fucking unreal.
hmm
But if you told, obviously now he has like the Irishman. He came back and gave like a performance of a lifetime practically. But
Did you see Jack and Jill, bro? I don't know if you saw that, but it's
oh,
peak
bro,
Pacino, in
I
my opinion.
cannot believe he didn't get an Oscar for that movie.
Yeah, I agree. That Dunkin' Donuts commercial that he did in the middle of it was
Fuck,
that shit's
bro.
Criterion level, if you ask me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um,
They need to release that on fucking Criterion
uh,
Blu-ray release.
I I fucking agree though with what you're saying. Pacino choosing a role like this late into his career, especially for what he was doing at the time, is very cool. I love seeing old ass actors do this, and I love seeing that Christopher Nolan could take these older actors like Michael Caine and Al Pacino and use them very well, and use them, in intriguing matters, and I dig it a lot.
Mm.
It is my number eight because I mean I really can't say shit about it. I just had to put it somewhere. I don't know. It's
That's fair.
definitely not in my top five.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting though. The most non Nolan movies I would say Following's pretty Nolan, but it's like Nolan's first
No,
steps.
no.
And I would
I'd
say
say Following is
Insomnia.
definitely a very, very Nolan-esque movie.
Yeah, I agree, but I find it interesting that you have two of his first movies in like your top five. I think that's really
Yeah,
cool. Um,
yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad you found
This,
more out of it
yeah,
than I ever
yeah.
did.
This was the first time I'd seen Following an Insomnia, and I'm so I really, really enjoyed them. I think
It's awesome.
I put both of them at 4 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. just like an 8 out of 10. I
Word. Yeah,
super good.
I, I think that's a fair rating. What that was number four for you?
Yep, that was my number four.
I said Inception
Fine.
already, didn't
Uh,
I?
you said Inception was your number four. Yeah, I'll go into my number three so we can get into it because my number three is Inception.
Let's go.
But yeah, so
I
you
fucking love
Inception number
Inception.
four. God, Inception's so fucking good, bro. I've seen Inception.
This was the first Nolan movie I watched, by the way.
Uh, I can't.
Oh wait, no, it wasn't.
No.
It was the first non-Batman movie I watched of
hmm
Nolan.
I can't remember. It was either one of the Batman movies or Inception. But Inception was. I don't think I knew the Batman movies were Nolan the first time I watched the first two at least, and by
I
then I'd
didn't.
seen
I did.
Inception as well.
Oh, okay.
Um, you know,
Um,
and by the time like Dark Knight Rises rolled around, I'd seen the first two in Inception, so I knew Nolan. But yeah, this was practically my introduction to Nolan, and I've seen this movie an absurd amount of times, and I rewatched it the other day, and yeah,
fuck yeah.
it's near fucking perfect. It's so fucking good. I really don't have really any gripes with this movie. I give it like a 9 out of 10 just because I don't know why. I don't I, I don't know why. I don't. It's like tiny nitpick. Can't even think of them in the moment, like right now. Like
I
really,
think
just
it's
think it's
stuff that
such a
we.
good fucking movie.
I agree. I think it's stuff we have been mentioning before. Nolan has a
Mm-hmm.
few
It's just
story
some yeah
issues.
those Nolan trademark issues that I find so infuriating in a lot of his movies are definitely present in this, but they're overshadowed by the fucking just greatness of honestly the character of Cobb is just probably the best character that Nolan has ever crafted, the most
Mm-hmm.
character ever, and he's just so engaging the whole time.
I love this cast, man. This is probably my favorite cast that he's had.
Yeah.
Um,
Ellen
even my
Page,
number one
Joseph
movie.
Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hardy, um, Cillian Murphy, fucking obviously Leo. I mentioned him already. Um, who else is great
Yeah,
in the movie? I don't know. That right there. That's the dream cast though. Uh,
this is kind of like a dream cast. This is also a start for like um Nolan using like Joseph Gordon-Levitt
hmm
and a few like Tom
This
Hardy
this
again.
was
Tom
Joseph
Hardy in a
Gordon-Levitt had been a
mask.
Levitt had been around for a while. Obviously, he's been doing shit like since he was young. Like he was a writer.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, he was a
Like Third
writer
Rock
on
from the
30 Rock when
Sun.
he was like 17 or 18. Some shit like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's insane.
That's crazy.
Um, um,
Did you ever see Third Rock from the Sun,
yeah,
the TV
yeah,
show?
yeah, yeah.
He's
Big
fucking
fan.
awesome in
Yeah.
that.
But this was probably the thing that really put him into the like blockbuster limelight that he is
I
these days.
I would say so, yeah.
I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Um, it's not his best performance, I think. That is in hidden for a little movie called Mysterious Skin, which if you want to hear about that, that was the first closet quickie I did on my channel. Um,
Oh, nice.
one of his early on roles that fucking just
The
blew
fuck?
my ass out, which I highly recommend. But this is definitely one of his best roles. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt so much. Tom Hardy has so much charisma in this fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, he's great.
Everyone has
He has
so
an
much
awesome
charisma in
fucking
this
scene.
movie.
The hotel scene where he's oh no, it's the scene where takes what's his face's face. Shit. Is I'm tripping out now. Tom Berenger, when he's Tom Berenger,
Oh yeah.
and he's like he's like looking at himself in the mirror, and he uses that as like interrogation almost, and
Yeah. Well, yeah. When
it's
he was
really
into
fucking
yeah, when they're like
it's
when he's tied up or chained up with
yeah,
yeah.
that's just really fucking cool. And it was so like seamlessly done. Like it felt like this
Mm-hmm.
weird thing that no one's brought into this universe. It felt natural.
Yeah.
Even after like all the crazy Inception stuff in the
Yeah.
beginning, but There's just a lot of fucking really cool sets in this movie,
Mhm.
and we haven't even talked about the concept of it being like dreams inside of dreams,
Mhm.
and then building dreams.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got to say,
uh,
a little side piece.
what?
It's not the best depiction of dreams ever. I gotta hand that crown to David
Uh,
Lynch. I've been obsessed with David Lynch recently, and I gotta hand that crown to him for the perfectly capturing how dreams really are. But
do you
Lynch,
talking about Mulholland Drive or what?
Mulholland Drive, but also in Twin Peaks and fucking like
Oh yeah.
any
Is it?
basically
Isn't like
any
ninety
Nolan
percent of
movie.
Twin Peaks a dream? Like at this
Maybe.
point,
I mean,
who knows?
like it's
Um.
crazy. But
Well, we
Nolan
never we
definitely does
in
a
Inception.
great job in this movie, and
In
they're in a
Inception, you've
different
never
way.
seen this concept before.
Yeah. Oh
You've
yeah.
never
Yeah.
seen this concept before. And I think this is where I see this theme a little bit in a lot of Nolan movies where he's like trying to tell a structure and like how a movie's made almost. And in
Mhm.
this movie, you see it a lot. Like with each character is like got its own role.
Mhm. It's just like the film crew
Like
basically.
basically, yeah, and I find that very fascinating that he would implement some a theme like that into
Mhm.
this greater like beyond thinking movie, where
Mhm.
people are fighting upside down in a hallway instead
Yeah.
of a dream, instead of a dream, instead of a dream. Um, I fucking love this movie, man,
Yeah.
and I gotta say like it's got probably my favorite Nolan scenes where they're gonna crash into a lake. They're all in a van, but
Yeah.
it's like 10 seconds
And the
that's going by
whole
in their
thing.
time is like an
Yeah.
hour,
Yeah.
and then
That
like
whole thing is
another
just
hour,
so
and
cool.
there's another dream. It's very cool. And this movie does this thing where Nolan like basically leaves it at the end. He lets you interpret what happens with the character at the end.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have anything to say, any theories about the end, but
I mean,
I'm assuming Leo's
my
still in his
my
dream.
yeah. The theory about the end that I have is that it doesn't matter really. Um,
It doesn't. It really
the whole
doesn't.
thing is like the whole aspect is it doesn't matter because he finally got to see his children's face and he's happy. So that's all that really matters. It's all just about the connections that you have and the love that you have with the people in your life, sort of. And yeah, I think it ties it up in that way really well. And I think
No,
once you start to think about it, it kind of ruins and not it doesn't ruin it, but it's like it's better if you just leave it how it is, you know.
no. I also want to say this movie, other than the fear scenes in Batman Begins, some of the scariest scene in this movie was when Leo's wife jumps off that balcony.
Yeah,
That scene, like the
that
whole
scene is
time,
horrifying.
is is scary as hell. One of the scariest
Mm-hmm.
scenes I've ever seen in any movie. Um, I I don't know, man. Nolan
Mm-hmm.
killed it
Yeah,
with this.
the
And
emotions really fucking hit in this movie, and it's really all just due to the cop character. Uh, Ellen Page is basically his therapist in this movie. That's just what she plays
yes, he
there, so
is. He
that he
really
can just
is.
like vent everything. And yeah, Cobb's story it really holds this movie down, and just makes it for like the biggest fucking gut punch.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
Inception's so
fuck yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, also want to shout out Ken Watanabe in this
Oh
movie. He's
yes,
fucking
yes.
awesome.
Also, I wanted to shout out. This is probably Nolan's best use of the lone Nolan dead wife meme. Because he has a dead
Is this
wife
where
in
it
all of his.
started?
It starts
He,
in
no,
all of his movies. No, it's a
that's true.
following,
He likes
bro.
to kill the women characters
He
all
has
the
a
way. So
he has dead wife or dead girlfriend in all of his movies. I'm pretty sure. Basically.
is Nolan a misogynist? Question mark.
Question? Maybe. Investigate.
Well, check out the podcast next week where we discuss Nolan is a misogynist or not.
Third week in a row, we're gonna talk about Nolan. We're actually gonna invite him on and question him why he is a misogynist.
There you go. Next week we're gonna talk about what's his face? I don't even know. Fucking.
Yeah, nice one. But his best use of the dead wife in this movie, as in it's done not in a dumb way, like it
Yeah.
like oh fuck, like that actually hit me emotionally. Like it's not like oh lol, Nolan's just killing another woman for some reason. This
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
Uh,
Another one plot device. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. It feels really weird in this movie when he does that.
Yeah.
In this movie, it doesn't feel like
Yeah,
that.
it definitely doesn't
Um,
feel weird in this movie, which is why it's cool.
yeah. This is also probably visually like one of those movies that defined, I would say, like the 2010s.
Oh, for sure, visually and like sonically as well, like the soundtrack. Um,
Oh my God, we haven't even talked about Hans
yeah.
Zimmer
I
and
just
Nolan's work together. That's so funny.
yeah, I guess I haven't talked about it because we haven't gotten to his best work, the best collaboration of Hans Zimmer and Nolan yet. But this is definitely
Oh, you're
influential,
gonna
I'd
stop.
say.
Do we want to get into the next one? I'm
We're gonna
curious
get
on what
into our
yours
number
is.
two right now. My number two is The Prestige.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Mine's The Dark Knight. Oh
Oh,
wait, wait, wait,
okay.
wait. We didn't talk about number three, did we?
My oh my God, wait, what was your number three? Holy shit,
Interstellar, bro.
we blew over. Oh, oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Oh God, I think we just completely flew past that. Yeah, all right, we gotta go back to that. Interstellar, bro. Okay,
Wait, what was Interstellar on your list?
Interstellar is my number 10. So Interstellar
Interesting.
always been by far my least favorite Nolan movie until obviously I'd watched Memento, which is the only Nolan movie that I genuinely don't really care about most aspects of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of stuff in Interstellar that I do love. Like there's scenes that I watch sometimes and I just cry at. Like there's some great fucking scenes in that movie, and there's some
Dude, the
incredibly
waterworks are on
yeah,
overtime during
there's
this
some
movie for me, dude.
incredibly intense moments in this movie too, and the way that it's shot is just so fucking beautiful. And like the wave planet, bro. Like this movie is so cool visually, and I loved this movie the first time I saw it when I was 14. And then
What does that mean?
the more I've rewatched it, I've seen this movie a bunch now. I actually not rewatched it for this podcast, but I've seen it for like 5 to 6 years. And
Alright.
I think this movie really fucking falls apart in the third act, and it really ruins, not ruins, I guess per se. But I think the third act of this movie is actually just straight dumpster fire fucking garbage.
When do you consider the third act to start? Cause I've
Right
heard
before
this
the black
before.
hole, right before the black hole,
Okay.
right when they decide to start explaining the black hole to him, how black holes work, right before they go in, instead of for
Okay.
talking about it before the mission happened, like so many other
I've
acts in this movie, with horribly, horribly done exposition through dialogue. I think is just so egregious in this movie.
Interesting.
Just littered throughout, and I think that's one of just the most horrible instances that just kick off
I feel like
most cliched
exposition.
and just lamest third acts. I guess it's not cliche. That's a bad word to describe it, but
I don't think this movie's cliche at all.
definitely not cliche.
This is,
I guess just the way that it ties in with its main themes of love and stuff like that. I honestly just think are just
oh yeah.
totally fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Just the way that the third act
The
plays
end of
out,
this movie, the what resolves it is love. Like, it's
it
kind
just
of
puts
goofy.
such a damper on so much of the rest of the movie, and alongside that with like lots of other just weirdly done exposition throughout and weird characters, like it definitely puts it so much lower on my list. But
I'm not sure what you mean by the exposition. Are you talking about like when they're explaining what happened in like the past and stuff like that?
there's a lot of dialogue where it seems almost either unnecessary or it just feels like poorly done. You know, like it does feel like uh, um, it's characters delivering this. It's like robots delivering this dialogue that you need to hear for the plot to go forward, but it's not done in an interesting way.
Mm,
It spills it all onto you. And I think that's obviously, like we've talked about, a really big aspect that I don't like in a lot of Nolan movies. I think it's really
right.
prominent in Interstellar.
Yeah. So Interstellar is my number three. I gotta tell you, man, I disagree on almost everything you said. Uh, this movie is fucking amazing. It's Nolan's most beautiful movie visually. It's Nolan's most out there movie, I would say. I do think the ending, how it resolves with love, is kind of corny, kind of goofy. But I cannot lie, man, it got me at the end. I fucking bawled my eyes out. Especially the ending scene where he sees his daughter, and he's still like in his 30s, and she's like 90. It was something I've never seen on screen before, and emotionally it really got me. Also, I would say a lot of people shit on the scene where McConaughey is watching his kids basically grow up
Yeah,
in
no, that seems
like
awesome.
5 minutes.
Yeah, that's
A
what I
lot
was
of
talking
people
about. The
shit on
water
that.
work that gets me. That's the thing that gets me.
That seems
With the
fucking
water work.
amazing,
Yeah,
bro.
that seems
That seems
incredible.
so good. You get I honestly think the casting of this movie is pretty awesome. Uh, you got
Shout out Timmy.
oh yeah, Timothy Chalamet was in this. Was
Timmy
it?
Sheldon's
Was,
fucking movie.
wait, was this like one of his first movies that he did? Because
I
I
guess
don't think.
I think probably. Um, Yeah, he's pretty young in this. Let me check.
Um, Jessica Chastain, Anne Hathaway, um, obviously Matthew McConaughey,
Mm-hmm.
Casey Affleck,
Yeah,
uh,
Matt Damon.
Marco Gang,
Mark.
Damon. Surprise Matt Damon. I really like that. Even if he
Yeah,
was a
it's,
dick.
he'd done some other stuff beforehand, but definitely his biggest role at the time.
No, wait, Damon? No way.
No, sorry, I'm
Dude,
talking about I'm talking about Timmy. Sorry. I went back to.
oh, Chalamet.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
He was like a little baby in that.
yeah.
Um, I fucking love Interstellar, man. I love the beginning of this movie where you really have to really get into the character's emotions and the kid's relationship with Matthew McConaughey and specifically uh, what's her name?
Murph,
Murph,
Murphy. Yeah.
Murph, who would later become Jessica Chastain as an adult.
she changes her name to Jessica Chastain. She ages in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, this is actually the origin for Jessica Chastain.
This is an origin story.
Yeah, but I think it's all great. I fucking love the music in this movie, man. This
Mhm.
might be my favorite Hans Zimmer
Bro, that
score.
theme. Yeah, I don't know. That theme fucking kills me.
It's
Side
amazing,
piece
man.
on that
It's
theme.
fantastic.
I love that theme, and I love this
Yeah.
score. But something that was interesting about it. I don't know if you remember. I talked about this movie a few episodes ago. The Weatherman. It's this really
Okay.
weird
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah.
And Hans Zimmer did the score for that movie, and so this it's a Gore Verbinski movie. And so Hans Zimmer did the score.
Shout out Gordon Verbinski.
Yeah,
Straight
shout
up,
out
I
Gore
love his
Verbinski.
shit, man.
He's very very dope.
Sorry, side note. Did you ever see Cure for Wellness?
No, I really wanted to. I was
That's an
interested
interesting
in
movie,
that.
man.
Yeah,
I think I have the poster of that movie.
dope. Yeah, I like.
You were saying.
Dane DeHaan's cool.
Yeah, this well, I feel real bad for Dane DeHaan, man.
I
feel
hope
like he's
I want him to get better
gone.
roles because I think he's a really good actor.
Yeah, I think he's great too. You were saying about the music though.
Yeah. The score. He obviously Weatherman came out in 2005 before Interstellar, and the main theme in the Weatherman is practically the exact same theme that
Really?
Zimmer uses in Interstellar. Yeah.
Are you sure it's just not similar? Or?
Well, yes, it's just similar. Obviously, he
Similar, yeah.
changed it for Interstellar, but
Like the same notes and
listen
chords
to
that he
it,
uses.
and it's like the exact same thing. It's funny, and that is not a knock to him or the Interstellar score at all. I just think it's a really funny note, and it's actually what got me to watch The Weatherman because I saw that on some like Reddit thread. I'm like, that's funny. Also, this movie is weird, and so that's why I checked it out.
I love like
awesome.
going back and like finding similar theme music that like composers of films have done. One of my favorites is like Michael Giacchino's
Yes.
score in the first Star Trek, 2009 Star Trek with Chris Pine. I love the score in that movie, and
He's like, I
he's
like the
one of
stuff
my
that he
favorites.
does. I'd consider him like the modern day John Williams. You know, like just in the aspect of
I like
the
that comparison.
blockbuster aspect. You know, like
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's easily like one of the best and best movie composers alive right now. I don't think
He's definitely one of
even
our
in
best
debate. I don't
working.
think anyone would really debate that. And I think just the way that his filmography and career has kind of played out, it really reminded me of John Williams. And obviously, I'm pretty sure he did
Interesting.
Star Wars movies, like the newer ones. So,
Yeah,
it's a
so
low-hanging
actually,
fruit.
I'll go into he it was Rogue One, and that
Okay.
Star Wars theme. Fun fact about it, he had 3 weeks to do it before the movie came out. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Rogue One is a dope movie.
But I was gonna say what you were saying with like similar themes. In Spider-Man: Homecoming, his theme is very similar to the Star Trek theme.
Interesting. That's cool.
It's very interesting.
Gotta check that out.
But shout out Michael Giacchino, man.
Yeah, shout out him.
Straight up.
Yeah,
Straight up.
Straight up. They got engine right there on him, but
We didn't talk about Tenet score. It was the first movie in a while that Chris Nolan did team up with Hans
yeah,
Zimmer.
it was
But this time
Ludwig
it was
something.
Travis Scott.
Like he did.
Oh.
I forgot Travis Scott did the score for Tenet. That's right. No, who did it? Ludwig something. He did the score for Black Panther.
Oh, yeah,
Ludwig
Ludwig
Göransson.
Yeah, he got
He won an Oscar for Black Panther. That's a great
I-
that's a great score. I think. I'm gonna be honest.
yeah.
I don't think the score in Tenet was bad, but it was not memorable to me at all. So, like, it's a movie I thought, but I don't know.
There was one.
I
There was
didn't
one
walk away.
particular theme.
I didn't walk away remembering any themes like I do in so many other.
I did.
Just because of
There
how
was one that was in the
memory is.
trailer that I remember it, and it was in the movie, like at the last scene.
The song that I think of when I think of Tenet is the fucking Travis Scott song.
Straight up, I fucking love that song
That
too,
song's
bro. We
tight.
can
The
talk
beat
about
in
that.
that song is hard.
It's real good.
Yeah.
I remember driving away from the IMAX theater, blasting that in my car. I was like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Shout out Travis Scott. I don't know why I've been listening to so much Travis Scott recently.
Dude, same,
Rodeo,
bro.
Rodeo is so fucking good.
Rodeo's awesome.
Travis's best album, I think, and just a
It probably
crazy
is.
good album.
What do you think of Birds in the Trap?
I love Birds in the Trap.
I love Birds in the Trap. I
love Birds in the Trap.
listened to it like
I
recently.
used to like Birds in the Trap more, but
Oh really?
I've been coming to the Church of Rodeo. You know.
Rodeo's fucking amazing. But Birds in the Trap is like super low key. I really dig that vibe that he has on it. We gotta finish this, don't we?
Oh my god, we haven't even. We still need to go into our top.
Dude, we've been talking for like over 2 hours.
Bro, this Nolan episode is gonna be so long, and that's fine. That's fine. We've waited.
Can we talk about Oh, my number 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your number 2 first?
Mine was The Prestige.
Okay. Mine was Dark Knight. I don't think we have to talk about Dark Knight because
we don't need to talk about Dark Knight. We talked about it so much last week. Obviously, my number 9. I'm not a big fan of Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
It's a cool movie.
It's my number 2 because I can go back to it anytime.
Influence, crazy, whatever. I get it.
I find it interesting that Prestige is your number 2 because Prestige is my number 1. Hey.
Oh. Yeah, dude. Okay. Yeah, let's get into it. Prestige. Fucking awesome, dude.
This is one of the best movies of all time.
I gotta admit, I'm embarrassed to say I didn't end up rewatching this for the podcast as well, just because I'm a bastard. I don't know why.
Oh really?
I didn't find the time, I guess. I don't know.
I didn't watch any of these movies for the podcast, but I've seen most. I've seen most of them in the last year or so.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I've seen most of these in the last
like
few months.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember
Prestige
very vividly though, and I remember my deep love for this movie though, and how just fucking incredible this is. How much it blew my ass out when I first saw it. This movie's just so fucking good top to bottom. Oh my god.
Yeah, this movie's it's like fucking that fucking blown out cow pussy, bro. Straight up, yo, Prestige is like probably his best. Character wise, it's some of his most engaging characters. He fucking used David Bowie in this movie. Shout out good. David motherfucking Bowie, bro. Yo, as Nicholas Tesla.
Yeah.
Dude, this is probably like one of his darker movies too. I would say.
This movie's so fucking depressing, dude.
In terms of like character motivations, Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Scarlett Johansson. Is it Michael Caine's in this too? I believe. It's fucking awesome, man. Prestige is about basically 2 magicians competing against each other and seeing which one can outdo the next. And then it gets to be pretty serious to where lives are endangered. And then you find out many lives have been endangered and now don't exist.
And you realize how fucking many.
You've realized how fucking messed up Hugh Jackman is in this movie.
God, both characters are so fucked up, and they're so interesting.
How many Nolan movies has a twist like The Prestige does? I don't think many do. It's a big twist in this movie. I guess spoiler alert.
Yeah, we've already gone in full spoiler.
There's a few twists in this movie. I would say the biggest one though is finding out that Christian Bale has a brother in this movie that looks exactly like him.
that shit is really depressing when you think about like how much it like fucked with his wife and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, it's
so
really
beyond fucked up.
Yeah.
God, yeah, dude, The Prestige.
This movie is like very psychological in a way.
And something that I think Nolan is like very praised for, I think, and a trademark in his movies is his really interesting structure and a concept. And I do think he does get way too overblown with his concept sometimes and sacrificing it for story. And he does not do that in any way, shape, or form in this movie. The concept of this movie, of it basically being a magic trick, and like the whole movie is like that, and it's like structured like the trick, and how it is just perfectly done. And the way that it's done in such an interesting way, and it also enhances the themes of the movie, it enhances the plot of the movie, it enhances the character motivations, and it enhances their fucking viewing experience, and everything. Like, every aspect of this movie is just working on so many levels. To just
I love that magic trick comparison.
Blow your mind. Yeah.
I love that comparison because You get a lot of hints in this movie where you're like, what's going on? Is it real? What's going on? Is it legit? And then the movie gives you scenes like the old man with the water between his legs, and you're like, oh, so is the movie telling me that not everything I'm seeing is legit? And it plays with that a lot, and like
Mm-hmm.
a magic trick, like a magician would do. And then in the end, it does its reveal. I think that's an amazing comparison, and I think Nolan fucking pulled it off if that's what he was going for. Because at the end it feels like ta-da, like, but it's not like very happy. It's kind of a sad
Mm-hmm.
ta-da, but
Yeah.
it's definitely an intriguing one, and um, I want to see fucking more Nolan movies like this. He hasn't really gone back to be doing films like this. He's doing more like high concept, a bigger action, wide frame type
Mm-hmm.
movies, and I think
That's the
that's
thing is,
cool.
like, I think he has almost been like getting away with the idea. He's like he had this like perfect idea of concept in the Prestige, and it was perfectly executed with the concept and the
Mm.
story. Um, but then after that, he kind of starts to get lost in these concepts, and that's kind of where a lot of like the faults kind of start to happen in a lot of his movies. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. And I feel like the Prestige doesn't fall have those setbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, man, Prestige.
this is a great movie, man. And this is probably even like I would say probably the following his last seen movie. There's a lot of people who have not seen the Prestige, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's usually on Netflix. I've seen it all the time on there.
Yeah.
Go
Please
see
start
it,
the
man.
movie out.
If
I
you
mean, I
haven't
guess
seen it,
we're
please
preaching.
do.
I guess if you haven't seen it, I'm really sad that you're listening to this part right now because we just fucking.
Oh, true.
So hopefully you've seen it and go watch it again there. But
Yeah.
shout out.
I feel like even with spoilers, you can still enjoy this movie.
Mm.
I remember watching it for the second time and
Oh,
getting
for
so
sure.
much
Yeah.
more out of it.
Yeah. It's definitely
And
just
like a lot of Nolan, I guess he expects you to watch his movies a couple
mhm,
times,
for sure.
whether you
Yeah.
like it or not, I
Hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
number one for me, yeah, The Prestige.
right
What
on.
is your number one?
Hmm. I wonder. My number one is Dunkirk.
Could it be? Could it?
Wait,
Oh!
I teased it. I talked about it on the very first podcast. Pretty sure it's been here every fucking episode. I'm obsessed with this movie. Dunkirk is fucking amazing. It's on your wall too. Shout out. Fucking pissed you have it at number 6. It should be higher, but that's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my god.
I think
It's
Dunkirk's
so good.
amazing, man.
I rewatched Dunkirk the other day, and it really solidified it in being an absolute masterpiece. And it definitely one of the best movies of the decade. One of the best, probably like a top 3 war movie of all time. The way that this war is unlike any other war movie ever, and the way that it does that is with its storytelling, with the nonlinear story, and the way that it does that, it doesn't really go into these characters, but it really puts you into the mood of war. And because it puts you into the mood of war and really feeling like you're there, you feel for the characters even more than you would in any other movie where it really like does more character development. Um, I think the emotions in this movie hit so much harder because I'm not feeling for really an individual character. I'm feeling for every single fucking man on that beach. It's so painful watching so much of this movie. Like it's so fucking intense the whole goddamn time. And like there's parts where it like almost lets up, but you know in the back of your mind that shit's about to just go sideways again because it's not the fucking end. The movie's still going. You've seen in earlier clips, like with the nonlinear timeline, it teases a lot of stuff that happens future on in the movie. So looking back, you see these things. You know it's about the inevitability of war, the inevitability of death, and it really just makes this movie just such an intense, crazy viewing experience. And I think he pushes filmmaking to
Excuse me, I'm
limits.
sorry.
Excuse me, yeah. I think he pushes filmmaking to its absolute limits on all cylinders with its visuals, its soundtrack, and the way it uses sound in the movie. I think is just fucking crazy, and I just
I'm sorry, bro.
you're good, you're good. I just think with the ways that I was saying about how it puts you into that mood of war, I just think is unlike anything I've ever seen, and just blows me away on every single time that I've seen this movie. And this is a movie that really got me into like film reviewing, I guess. I don't like to sound like a film reviewer because obviously I'm not, and all of my opinions are just my completely subjective opinions that I don't.
Dude, I love
I
movies
just
and
they're
shit. I
just
feel
my
like I watch a
opinions.
lot, but I'm still novice. I'm
Yeah,
still
yeah.
super
Oh,
novice.
for sure. I just like to talk about my perspective about movies. I'm finally
Hmm.
at an age where um, like I was kind of saying when I was younger, a lot of my movie opinions kind of weren't really mine. It was just kind of shit I read online or shit I listened to. Like I'd feel
Mm.
way about a movie and I just kind of would change my opinion based on like actual like other people's thoughts on it. But this was almost like the movie that really changed in me of like having my own strong opinions about it, I guess. Which is weird. It came when I was like 17, tragically. I think it was when this movie came out, 2017. But
Yeah, I believe so.
this movie in theaters with my parents and like a few of their other friends, and my parents and the others didn't really enjoy it at all. They thought it was kind of shitty and boring. Maybe a few of them did, but most of them really didn't enjoy it. And so I just had to sit there at dinner after the movie and listen to them like rant about it and just like brewing my hatred for all of them inside of me and telling them about why I think they're all wrong. And that was that was the first review I wrote. I used to write reviews and post them on Twitter. I didn't do a whole lot of them, but that was the first one I wrote because and then I like sent it to my mom and all of them because I'm like, it was basically like, this is why you're wrong, why I think Dunkirk is great, which is obviously not a good way to approach it, and it wasn't really that way, but it was just, I really just think this movie is a masterpiece, and if you don't,
Oh yeah.
fuck you, because I love
What?
this movie means so much to me. It's so fucking cool.
I think this movie's great. Yeah. I was fucking working over at Regal when this movie was came out, so I watched it after one of my shifts for the first time. And it was when it came out. And it was like the later showing, and nobody was in the theater, so I got to watch this alone with theater quality, and it was one of my favorite experiences, just being in there and experiencing like this fucking stressful war movie that like literally like jump scares from firings of bullets
Yeah.
and whatnot. I fucking visually this movie's awesome.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's
after
by
watching,
I think the visuals in this movie is definitely Nolan's most beautiful movie. Uh,
I agree.
those scenes,
Well,
some of those scenes
I
are
don't
just like,
I think Interstellar is better, but in terms of like just framing,
mhm.
Nolan really pulls it off
I
in this movie.
believe Hoyte van Hoytema did the cinematography for this one.
Cinematography.
Um, he's very pro
Hmm.
cinematographer right now. Let me pull it up.
This movie's got a lot of like visually, it's visually good.
He did Interstellar as well. Actually, he did Interstellar,
Yeah,
Asteroid. He
that
did
makes sense.
Her. Um, like yeah,
Oh, really?
he did fucking Spectre. He did Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Yeah,
I fucking love that movie.
incredible cinematographer. And I think this is debatably his best work. I might like Her more. I don't know. Her is
Well, after you
movie.
mentioned her, and even if you did Interstellar, I fucking love the visuals in her, man.
Yeah, Her is an
But
incredible movie.
I agree. We gotta do
Incredible cinematographer, and he
Spike
does
Jones
just such a good job in this
episode.
movie. I think it's definitely the most beautiful Nolan movie visually, and I think it's the best soundtrack that he's ever been worked with. Hans Zimmer's soundtrack for this movie is just unrelenting. The ticking is genius and fucking just so anxiety inducing. All of the themes in the movie, I think, I don't know. It just everything in this movie just works on every cylinder to really just push you in that mood of being in war and making you feel the inevitability of war,
Hmm.
inevitability of death, and understanding these characters and feeling for the situations that they're in. And it just
And Harry Styles is in it.
and Harry goddamn Styles is in it, and he's so fucking cute. Fucking
um,
Young Whitehead, I think is his name. The guy. He's
yeah,
also in
I didn't know this
Bandersnatch.
character before. Also,
Um,
kid from Killing of a Sacred Deer's in this.
yes, I
Um,
love him. Barry Keoghan. Barry Keoghan.
yeah, Barry Keegan. I'm
He is.
interested to see what
He's
he's
also
doing
in
here.
American Animals. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, he is. Yeah, it's on HBO. I
American
watched
Animals
that.
is
It's really
fucking
good.
awesome movie. Definitely.
That movie's got a very interesting box office story.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I saw American Animals at Dark Side in Corvallis.
oh, did you?
Massive.
Interesting,
Yeah,
interesting.
I love American Animals. I'm a big fan of Barry Keoghan as well. I'm really excited to see what he does.
Oh yeah.
His
So
death scene in this movie is like, oh my,
spoiler.
but we've already been in spoilers.
I know.
But
Yeah, it's fucked
oh
up.
my
It's
god,
real
it's so fun.
fucked up.
The thing that really
Killian
made
Murphy.
me squirm this time is when he falls down and he hits his head and it's like a shot of him and you can hear him like whimpering. It fucking
Yeah.
kills me. Oh my god.
Dude, do you remember the guy did that with well, what that eyebrow dude? So fuck in Midsummer where he gets fucking clubbed. No, it's the
Oh
black dude. It's the
yeah,
black
yeah,
dude
yeah.
from The Good Place. He gets
Hmm.
fucking clubbed, bro. Oh, he's like,
That shit hurts. Yeah.
I hated that, bro.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, they do it in Dunkirk here. And like, I guess that's what a human would be like if they got fucking
Yeah.
messed
And
up on the back of
that
their
shit
head.
really makes my gut turn.
It really does. We didn't really mention Killian Murphy or Kenneth Branagh, but they're both fucking
Oh,
awesome in
they're
this movie
awesome.
too.
Yeah, they're so good.
Um,
Yeah, the
who's the
early like it's showing PTSD through like immediate PTSD. Like he's like this still like just happened to him like a few hours ago, and he's
I think
already having like
yeah,
relived it. It's like
he's in
horrifying.
because his story is like he's on a boat that gets basically
Yeah, he was on. Yeah,
torpedoed, right?
he was on a boat that got torpedoed.
And yeah, he's like shook through the whole fucking movie, and the movie kind of excuses his actions in it and says basically, Cillian Murphy's fucked up and there's not much you can do about it because
That
war's
was the thing
war.
is like that's the thing about it. It's like they don't excuse it in a moral way of literally saying like it's okay what he did. But they show you like that's what fucking happens. Like that's one of the horrifying aspects of war is like these just dumb fucking accidents that just happen that in the person's life, this very young life, like a lot of the other very young troops out there, sacrificing their lives for fucking just war, pointless, stupid fucking war, just so tragic.
Did you see Darkest Hour? Same year it came out.
I did, yeah.
I
Darkest
think it's an
Hour
interesting.
came out the next year, actually.
No, it came out the same year.
Did it?
I'm
Oh
pretty sure.
no, I think no.
Yeah,
Right,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but
I don't know.
I would say Darkest Hour would be it's a good double feature for Dunkirk.
There's actually I've been wanting to watch this for so long. I don't even know if there's possibility to get access to this, but there's this dude on Reddit who posts on r/movies sometimes who likes
Reddit moment.
Who does like super edits of movies, and he did a cut of Darkest Hour and Dunkirk, like mixing them together and like
interesting.
Color grade. Like I'm pretty sure he made it like black and white across the whole thing, so like it fit chromatically, basically.
That makes sense.
Like the way that he talked about it wasn't obviously like thrown together. Like it was very thought out how he put the two movies together thematically and like story wise and stuff like that.
That's very cool.
I wish I could find access to that. And check that out. That'd be so cool.
So Dunkirk was your number one. It is my number 6 because it's almost perfect for me. It's just my biggest complaint with Nolan is his audio seems to be least of his worries when he made this movie. It was very hard to hear dialogue. It was very egregious.
100% true.
And but that's about. I mean, that's literally about it. I really can't complain about Dunkirk.
That's the thing is like that's an issue with Dunkirk for sure. But the reason why I don't really care about that in any way is because of like how little the dialogue matters in the movie.
I felt like it mattered a lot in Dunkirk, and that was why I was a little sour on it. Because when I watched it with captions again, I got a lot more out of it than I did.
I for sure got more out of it with captions, but I don't.
I also understood
I guess I just
his
for some
structure
reason
better.
Don't mind it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, the non-linear
visually, it's very cool.
I think the script of this movie really goes unnoticed, and not the script as in like the story beats and structure of it. I think is really interesting. The way that he defines each of these 3 stories and timelines, and the stories and how they connect, and how he connects them with the interwoven timeline is done super interestingly. And it's just
I agree. It's really fucking awesome.
Yeah, Dunkirk just blows me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Holy shit.
That was number 1.
That's fucking 11 movies down. That's all the Nolan movies. We did it.
Only took us 2 hours to get through.
It took us like an hour and a half, and we got a little bit more to talk about.
No way, that was an hour and a half. It's been like 2 hours, bro.
I don't know. But we'll run it one more time. My list top to bottom is Dunkirk, Prestige, Inception, Insomnia, Following, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, Tenet, The Dark Knight, Interstellar, and Memento. How about you, top bottom?
Starting from number 1, The Prestige, Dark Knight, Interstellar, Inception, Tenet, Dunkirk, Memento, Insomnia, Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, and Following.
Right on. Okay.
I love Nolan, bro.
Yeah, I love Nolan too.
One of our best working directors right now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always excited to see a Nolan movie. Sorry though, a little bit more that we do got to talk about. Obviously, we have the possibility if viewers want to write in the response to the topic of the week and the movie review of the week, they can write in and we'll discuss them. So I had two of my buddies wrote in today. First was Nathan, Mr. Shadow541 on Instagram. Shout him out. He sent me his Nolan ranked list, and he only ended up ranking his top 4. And it's ranked in rewatchability and personal enjoyment. And he has Memento at number 1. And then Inception, Interstellar, and Dunkirk. So I really love seeing Dunkirk Dunkirk and Inception in that top four. That makes me super fucking happy. I'm really sorry to shit on your two of your favorites, Memento and Interstellar. Those at my two bottom. I shit on those movies a lot in this podcast, so sorry about that.
Dude, I really want you to rewatch Interstellar.
I should, and I genuinely think I would like it more, but I don't know. There's just so much in the movie that I think is just fucking stupid.
Okay.
But yeah. What do you think about that? What do you think about that list? Having especially Memento at the number one. That's definitely the out of all of our lists.
It was Memento, Inception, Interstellar.
Yeah, Memento.
I had Memento at number 7.
Number 7, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But fucking yeah, that's really high praise for Memento, and I get it. I like that. My dad is a really big fan of Memento too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jacob, you're kind of in the minority with Memento.
And I get that I'm in the minority.
A lot of people would probably say it's the favorite Nolan.
And I recognize that there's some cool stuff about it, but I my rant on it. I don't want to harp on it too much more. But that's I'm really happy to see Dunkirk in there as well. Big fucking fan of that, obviously. And then my buddy Jake also wrote in. Jake Van Dyke, shout out to him. His Nolan list. He also has Memento at number 1. And his list is Memento, The Prestige, Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar, Tenet, Dunkirk, and then he hasn't seen Insomnia. So first off, fucking watch Insomnia, bro. Insomnia is awesome. Like I talked about, that's on my number 4.
Yeah, if you could find Insomnia,
definitely gotta check that out. I saw that on HBO Max. It's on there. So
is it okay?
Yeah,
I'll have to watch it.
Big fan. But man, Memento at number 1. Oh god, I'm so sorry. And I get it. I get why people like this movie. It's not for me, I think. I just think it's super.
Wait, see. Oh no, okay, yeah.
The Prestige at number 2. Obviously, I had that at my number 2. Nick's number 1. Very good placement there.
I agree.
At number 7, that is incredibly suspect. That
What was it, number 7?
Dunkirk.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe you'll hear my thoughts on this and rewatch it and give it another go because I think it's a masterpiece. But obviously, I respect.
I'll be honest with you. I can
appreciate
understand
you
where people. I can understand where people may not like Dunkirk that much. But I honestly give everyone that didn't like it on the first viewing to try to watch it a second time.
Highly recommend rewatching Dunkirk.
I feel like you get a lot more out of it.
I'm gonna link this. That like I said, this was the first review I ever did like Dunkirk, and I got some good thoughts in there. I think some points in there that like I said, I sent that to my parents to kind of make them change their thoughts and stuff, and it actually ended up changing the thoughts of my mom at least. My dad not so much, but my mom ended up changing her thoughts on the movie. So I don't know. Maybe I'll link it in the description. Listen to this and then rewatch Dunkirk and see what you think about it. With that viewpoint in mind, I think. But definitely thanks for writing in. Really appreciate that. Next week we're going to be talking about Kaufman. We're going to be reviewing. I'm thinking of ending things and reviewing Kaufman. Just doing a Kaufman introspective.
Dude.
So.
Okay. I got a lot to watch. Oh shit.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This podcast took like a week and a half longer than I wanted it to. Realistically, the next episode.
Yeah.
We got time. It's fine. Especially this episode. We're gonna let you guys sit on this for a while. This is gonna end up being like a fucking 2.5-hour episode, which is just absurd.
Dude.
It's way too much.
This is and then we have a review of Tenet going on afterwards.
Yeah. Anyway. Alrighty. Yeah. This is even though we're going to the
good place to end it.
Next part. So this is us ending it. Listen to the little fucking what's it called intermission, and then join us for our review of Tenet. My brother's on that second half, and he gives some of his thoughts on that. So stay tuned, and thanks for checking out. Thanks for listening to the episode so far. I just want to do a huge shout out to Anchor. I couldn't do any of this without Anchor. You can check them out on either desktop or you can get that app on your phone. It is quick, it is easy, and it will distribute your podcast onto any other podcast sharer available. Like I said, it is incredibly easy to use, and I highly recommend using Anchor. So shout out to them, and thanks for listening. Alright, what's up and how's it going, guys? We are back for our review of Tenet. Let's get right into it. Elijah, do you want to start with some of your general thoughts on what you thought about Tenet?
Sure. As a very, very big Christopher Nolan fan, I love pretty much all of his movies. I was a huge fan of Tenet. And if you want to start off with the ratings, I'd probably give it I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. In terms of Nolan's movies, if I'm going to compare it with that to begin with, It was not one of my favorites, honestly. I think my favorite parts of the movie were the Nolan stuff that I know and love, and that shouldn't take points away from the movie, but he did well with it in this movie, and he did a good job with his unique way of storytelling, which is my favorite part about him. How he kind of uses the editing to create this very non-linear storyline, but makes it all connect in the end and makes it all ask questions. And that's one of the other great things about his movies. And it's just the discussion afterwards and being able to think of all these, crazy theories of what happened and how you interpreted it and what could have been and what wasn't, and all those, crazy storylines that come to your head after you finish a Nolan movie. And I got that from Tenet, and it was really, really enjoying. Um, Overall, I really did enjoy it. I really liked fucking what's his face, Pattinson.
Yeah, Rob Pattinson
Did great.
He's great.
I
think
I,
he's by
I
far the
absolutely
best
loved
part.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. No, he was phenomenal.
Mhm.
The lead, he did a good job, but
John David
I don't know if
Washington.
really some of his dialogue was kind of, I wasn't a big fan of it. I don't know. It seemed quick and I don't know.
I feel like that's more of a slight
Um,
towards Nolan's writing than his performance.
Yeah, I wasn't anything against his performance, but I think maybe the writing on his character wasn't the strongest. You know. With
Mhm.
that said, Pattinson, a beast. I love
Yeah.
him. He's a cutie. What can
Definitely
he
an
do?
Oh my
absolute cutie.
god.
Absolute cutie, especially in this movie. That
Nah, he's a heartthrob, dude.
come on, how can you not? He's the best. Yeah, I really did enjoy Tenet. So I've only seen it once so far, same as Elijah. And I wanted to go see it a second time these past few days. Tried to go again today, but the theater was closed, which was tragic. So it was open online, but with all the smoke and shit going on with Oregon, which is just horrible. Sadly, couldn't make it. But on the first time of Tenet
That sucks.
watching it, it really felt like a really standard Christopher Nolan movie where every single line is exposition, exposition. There's no character development. I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
I was enjoying the visuals and I was enjoying what's happening, and I was just like, I didn't really understand the criticism of it's hard to follow a lot of it. I did think it was incredibly easy to follow, at least like the plot line, because they told you everything that was gonna happen, and then they showed it to you, every single little aspect, and I kind of got annoyed by that. But honestly, the way that the movie wrapped up, it kind of made me rethink a lot of it, and it actually made me enjoy a little bit more. Obviously, we're in full spoiler territory. The way that it ends, it does reveal how John David Washington's character, the protagonist, which is a stupid name that we'll go into in a bit. John David Washington, the protagonist, is revealed to be the leader runner of the organization Tenet, and that he now at the end of the movie is his journey to building up the organization. And so with that recontextualization, it kind of made me forgive the exposition in a way, because even though it felt so forced, it almost made sense because it's all of these characters who are in on it. They know what Tenet is. They know the organization. I believe that they know that he is the starter of it and stuff like that. So, with them always just spouting about what's happening, it almost feels like better because
You know what it reminds me of?
like explaining to him like what he needs to do. So it's in the future when he's planning, he's like, all right, you need to tell me all these things so that it goes the exact same way and we do save the world, because it's all about tying up those loose ends.
Yeah, that part really reminds me of Memento. Going
Oh,
back and retelling
okay, yeah.
how the main
Yeah.
character's in this like his own world and he's trying to figure out what's going on in this new world of his, but everybody around him knows what's going on. Almost like
Mhm.
following too.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. That's
Kinda, yeah.
definitely a thing in a lot of his movies, and I actually think it's done pretty well in Tenet. I agree.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and give my rating as well right now. I actually give it a 7. which is just a little bit higher than yours, and it's purely for that. I really do enjoy some of those classic Nolan set pieces and some of the action and the way that it works with the inversion and just like honestly that plot of um like it's these future people trying to blow up the past, and how they do it is they take advantage of this really pathetic character, Kenneth Branagh's character, who I think is a really pathetic villain, but it made sense because that's the reason they pried on him. That's the reason like the future people recruited him, because he was, like I said, in the right place at the right time, and he also was this guy already on the last legs of his life. He's just kind of, all right, we can trick this guy into ending the world for us because he's a pathetic little piece of shit. Um, which I
Who?
thought was kind of interesting.
Wait, what? Where did you get that he was being told by someone? That was never in the movie.
Yeah, the future people sent back the plans to blow up the world. Like that's they sent back the plans to Soviet Russia at the end at the fall of the Soviet Union. Kenneth Branagh's character was there, and he found the letters to it was like a note sent back from the future people, basically like describing in a way how to
Oh, I thought.
blow up the past.
Oh, okay. I I thought that was just basically showing what the algorithm was, and where he had to find the different pieces. But
Yeah, I mean,
I guess that makes sense.
I guess it it was explaining that, but it was telling him where the algorithm pieces are. Yes, because that's what they're sending back to him. But it's also describing
Yeah.
what the algorithm pieces are, which is an inverse bomb to blow up the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um.
they were kind of using him because he was just like this pathetic guy, basically on the end of his life in a way. He was in the right spot at the right time. I thought that was interesting, but that's kind of
Mhm.
point to so much of this movie, where it's like, oh, that's interesting. That's it. Oh, cool. I've listened to some other podcasts or videos. Obviously like those explanation stuffs, explaining the movie and shit. Um, and
Uh.
they would kind of bring up these things like how all these tiny little pieces throughout the movie tie back to other stuff and how they make sense. And basically like every single time like a reveal like that would happen in a way, like remembering stuff like that should feel important and that should feel cool. But it's like anytime I'd get that new kind of information, I would just be like, oh, cool, okay. But it really doesn't serve any purpose to the, uh, anything. And it really just gets to the main issue I have with this movie is the zero emotional connection that's really in it. I, it really feels like a standard Nolan script where it's all right. How do I bring some emotion in this? I add wife. I add son.
True.
This should make you care about them. It is a wife and a son, and it's like, okay,
Does,
cool. I
wait.
care.
Oh, can I speak on this? I haven't given my
Yeah,
thoughts on
sorry.
this
Yeah,
yet.
you can go.
I
You
kind
can go into
of
your full
want
thoughts
to
on
ask
it.
you. I want to ask you a question first because I've seen that criticism with the wife and kid. What's the big criticism about that? When Elizabeth Debicki's literally like a main character in this movie. I don't understand. I've seen
I
that criticism so much on like Reddit and shit. Like people are like, "Oh, the wife and kid is the most boring part of this movie." I'm like, the kid's barely in it. I don't even think you see the kid in the movie. And then
yeah.
secondly, Elizabeth Debicki is literally like a giant plot point for this movie that carries on to the very end. Like there's a point where she's literally talking about the end of the movie and experiencing it for the first time, and then going back and seeing what actually happened. Um,
hmm
I,
Well,
because I don't know, I find that interesting that people are like the wife and the kid were like the worst part of the movie. I found
I
a lot of her stuff really intriguing.
um
So I'm just wondering what you
I
mean by
totally with
that.
that. I do think that the wife and the kid is kind of the worst part of the story. And you said that point about how the kid's barely in it. Exactly, the kid's barely in it, but there's so much emphasis on it. With like, trying to save my kid. He's holding my kid hostage. I need to free my kid and myself from this man. And I just really think that she's just a really poorly written character. Like, I just think every character is really poorly written in this movie. I think every character is just only there to serve the plot.
Interesting.
But I think her and her son are easily the main example of that for sure. And a little side piece on that, but just a line that I thought was just so infuriating with it was when she's like kind of dying, you know, and it's her, the protagonist, and Neil all together, and they're talking about like the world's gonna end, and or like everyone's gonna die, and she's like, including my son. It's like, yes, obviously, including your son, but like, yeah, it just feels dumb. Like, it just feels like a dumb line, and that's how so much of her dialogue kind of feels in this movie. It just feels like only care about me because I'm a wife and I have a son. Like I don't feel any emotional attachment, or and I do think that is really due to the writing. We've talked about on the last show and such, I am not a big fan of Christopher Nolan's writing. It is easily my least favorite thing about all of his movies, and I think it's forgiven a little bit at times, like I said, with the exposition, how it feels a little bit better with the fact that it's them all trying to remind him and set him up for the future to make sure the loose ends are tied and setting up Tenet properly. Like, I can, like, kind of forgive those instances, but the stuff with the really just, like, poor character development, I think is very prominent in this movie, and I just don't care about really any of them. And even
Mm.
like Neil and the protagonist, like the character I cared about the most was definitely Neil, but I wish I got more of him. Honestly,
Um,
I do want to go into some of your more general thoughts about it because you've seen it twice now, so
yeah, so I have seen it twice. I saw it in regular format, and then I saw it on IMAX, my
which is
second viewing.
I'm incredibly jealous
Um,
of. I wish I saw it in IMAX. I definitely want to.
if people do see this movie, I highly recommend if you have IMAX available to see it in IMAX because that the beginning scene, the opera scene, is absolutely incredible in
Hmm.
IMAX. Um, did anyone? I'm surprised you guys haven't talked about this at all. Have did you guys have sound? Like this is
Yeah,
Nolan's
yeah.
doing weird, crazy.
Yeah.
Like he was doing substance and other stuff over the audio,
He
like
he
everything above audio.
Nolan's done this in practically all of his movies, of just like fucking with this.
I disagree. Actually
I don't think
disagree.
it's all of
We
it.
started.
I think it started in Begins. Batman Begins. And
I think it started in Interstellar, because in that movie, there's many points where you can barely hear what they're saying, especially when they
mhm.
get on the
I think
Matthew
it
Matt
that's when
Matt.
it got the worst before this, for sure.
No, you definitely see it before, but Nolan just didn't give a fuck.
Mhm.
And then in Dunkirk, it was pretty egregious as well.
It's super
But
egregious in Dunkirk,
it
but I don't mind in Dunkirk. You know, it
right,
it's fine.
but in Tenet, right, in Tenet, it's probably the worst I've seen.
It's so
And
important
it
in
def
Tenet
it
because
need
it's all about the dialogue and what's happening. You can't miss a single fucking line in this movie, or else it'll just blow past it because there's
yeah.
so much shit that's going on. But then you can never hear any of the dialogue. It's incredibly frustrating, for sure. It's almost something I like don't even
Yeah.
care about in Nolan movies anymore because it's something that I don't care about in the way of like I expect it and I expect to be annoyed by it, and it still like lowers the my opinion of the movie, but it's just like, all right, yep, this is Nolan. He does shitty stuff for the audio. It's just another one of the shitty things that Nolan does that I don't like the writing. You know, I don't like how he mixes movies. It's just another thing where it's like, fuck, bro, I just don't get it. I don't get it, and it's
Yeah.
definitely so bad in Tenet. You can never hear any of the character dialogue.
Um. Yeah.
Was it better in I?
Um.
The
It was
I got like
a little bit. It was a little bit better in IMAX. It was just in general. I do want to say on my first viewing of the movie, I came out of it liking it, but I was very confused. Like I missed probably a good 30-40% of the dialogue because it was so egregiously
mm-hmm.
loud and poorly mixed. But on my second viewing, I got a lot more out of it, and I ended up really liking this movie a lot more.
Okay.
Like a lot more. I love this movie. I think it's
Oh
really good,
wow.
and I think it's
Okay.
probably one of I think it's Nolan's one of his best movies.
Interesting.
Um,
Speak on it.
yeah, man. Like this movie brings. Can we haven't even talked about what's going on with the movie. Like it's
Yeah,
uh
we've just
the
been
whole
kind of
movie
blowing
is
past it
based
because it's.
on like
You want to kind of give a rundown
yeah
of like
it's
just like the plot. I feel like
sure
a lot
like
of people are confused
so
about that. Just like what happens, you know?
right, so with a lot of Nolan, um, he messes with time a lot in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and in Tenet, it has to do with reverse time, time travel, and dealing with uh, like reverse, what's it called, inversion or whatever? It's it
Yeah,
with
inversion, I think.
with so there's like these
Yeah, because there's like
inverted
inverse bullets,
objects
inverted
basically.
purple. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like inverted bullets that if they're shot through someone like Elizabeth Decky, that it's almost impossible to like heal up the wound because it was entered in such a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And how you
uh,
invert these bullets are from we don't have the technology. It's people from the future uh, inverting stuff and sending it
mhm.
back.
they
So
they are sent back from people from the future. That's right.
the
Um,
stuff that I feel like a
and
lot of people have to get with a lot of the inversion scenes of when shit's kind of going on. There's this line in this movie. It's like making fun of itself with this line, but I enjoy it. It's like don't think about it, just feel it. And I that is kind of how I feel about a lot of this movie
yeah,
with the
actually,
inversion stuff. It's
that's
just like
right.
you know, and I like that. I don't have to
That
fully understand how the inversion stuff works because it's kind of visually cool and it
right,
kind of makes sense, you know, for the most part. And
right,
you know, I don't need it to make more sense than that. It makes sense in the context
right,
of the world, so I'm cool, you know, as long as it makes
right.
sense in the
It,
context of the world that the movie builds.
yeah. Anyway, these like inverted objects are being uh, used in terrorism ways, basically, and eventually, CIA or whatever this they've suspected that it's going to be used to basically uh, annihilate nuclear warfare and World War III, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they just don't know how. They just think it's going to happen like in this weird like inversion time. So it's going to happen. I don't know how it's hard to think about how that would happen, but it's like it's in the past, but it's happening now. It's weird to think.
Yeah.
Um, I want to speak on Tenet itself. The title, this movie is basically like a palindrome concept. Starting with the
Yes.
title, Tenet is a palindrome. Um, and I think this movie, like a lot of Nolan movies, has to do with filmmaking itself. This movie has a lot to do with editing, movie editing specifically. Um, like a perfect example is that fight scene that John David has with himself. He just doesn't know it
Yeah.
yet. That scene is filmed very odd. Like it looks like some of it's filmed in reverse and some of it is filmed forwards normally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like edited together. And some of the choreography is pretty amazing
Yeah,
too.
I listened
Um,
to some interviews and they were like, yeah, we did all that. You know, we crawled backwards, we talked backwards, like all that. Like we did that shit. Like it was core.
okay,
They had to do it.
so that was
Like
filmed not in
a lot.
reverse.
Like I'm sure there were some things obviously that had filmed in
Sure.
reverse, but a lot of it, you know, they had to do that like weird choreography and shit. which is
Yeah,
incredible
and
for sure.
it's pretty incredible. Um, Rewatching it again with knowing that in mind is was really cool to see because it was just the weirdest fucking movements
Mhm. On
that
a visual and
you know
technical level, this movie
it
is
was
just
crazy.
fucking mind blowing. Absolutely, I highly agree with.
Yeah,
It's really, really cool some of the shit that it achieves. Especially
there's
like you're saying with the
go ahead.
choreography of some of these scenes and the cross editing that Nolan does in every single one of Nolan's movies, cross cutting between these different timelines and different things, but like tying them together with what's actually happening, and it's done in a really interesting way in Tenet so often. I do think like this
No,
movie is a technical marvel for sure, and it's really fun to just sit back, don't think about it, just feel it and watch it. And that's how I feel a lot about it. But
that's
I
so
wanted to
interesting.
I want to hear your
I,
thoughts on the. I mean, do you cared about the characters? I mean, I
what do you mean?
didn't. I mean, did you actually care
N-
about Elizabeth Debicki and her fucking son? What happened to them? You cared about the protagonist, I guess.
d-
I don't know. I didn't care what happened to them. Like they didn't feel like characters. Like they just felt like robots.
Okay,
I don't know. I was just
I mean
never. I was never emotionally
it's a
invested into the story.
that's interesting. Yeah. I was definitely mostly invested into Elizabeth Debicki's character, Kat. Um, they barely mentioned the son, so I guess I didn't care about that. But I don't think they. I think there was a reason why they barely let the son out, is because it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I'm trying to understand what you mean. Like you didn't care about these characters because I feel like Nolan wasn't trying to make anyone care. Obviously, I think it's funny you mentioned the protagonist. That's what John David is. He's just the protagonist in this movie. That you know, is essentially just a plot device character. Um,
Exactly. I think that's
and
dumb.
yeah,
You know,
oh, okay.
these aren't
Well,
characters. You
well,
know, I. Sorry. You go.
I mean, I feel like I guess that doesn't matter too much. I'm surprised you didn't feel anything for Debicki's character because she goes through so much shit in this movie. Um, with Kenneth Branagh, like
I guess.
beating on her,
I guess
almost
I
killing her
maybe
basically.
I guess I couldn't take those scenes seriously because of like how the character was written and then how in turn Kenneth Branagh's character, like how he was performed and how the character was like I was saying, I think it does make sense how it is like this pathetic kind of dumb character. So in retrospect, it feels better, but at the same time, it is this stupid fucking character that I can never take seriously. He has this evil accent. That's how you know he was evil. He has this accent. And he's very, very evil, you know. Always.
I
And
did think his Ukrainian accent was pretty funny.
he was just a fucking clown. Like I he was
But he's not a good
he
guy,
was
yeah. But
so
I thought his character
unintimidating.
was
He was the
I did
least
I actually
intimidating
disagree.
villain ever.
I actually disagree. Um, wow. That I thought Kenneth Branagh was great. I thought the accent was kind of funny, but he's a fucking terrifying dude, and he'll fuck shit up because he just doesn't give a fuck. He's literally on like the last legs of his life, as you said. Um, I thought it was really good. I I I I did hear a lot of people say that this performance is kind of goofy, and I kind of see that, but I don't know. I thought it fit pretty well. He's just I thought his motivations were very interesting as well. When they revealed that he was just going to kill himself with the world, I thought
Yeah, the
that's
motive.
fucking
Yeah,
that's what his they
I
show that with his character is being really selfish throughout the movie. I was like that makes sense. That's the perfect way for that character. That's his perfect death. Is to take everything with him because if he can't have it, no one can. Um,
if he can't have
Well,
cat, no one
yeah.
can.
it
And I
feels
think
kind of cliche though.
eh, literally
What's that?
the line, "If I can't have you, no one can." That's dumb.
No.
That
And the
feels
thing is,
dumb.
while it does feel kind of cliche, the stereotypical action villain, it's still good, and I still think he does it in a way that's enjoyable. And I know it's kind of a meme maybe, but I still think it was enjoyable how it was done.
That's the thing.
Well,
Is like I think it was
I'm
enjoyable
wondering
in
from.
like a comedic
Go
way
ahead.
almost. That's how I feel about it.
Exactly,
It's like I think it's
exactly.
enjoyable in a comedic way, and in that sense, I can appreciate it. But it feels like the movie wants me to be intimidated by him. Like it feels like that's what it's going for almost, and that's when I'm like, all right, bro, come on. Like I can't
So
take that seriously.
you just
Like
weren't you just weren't buying it.
I
Okay,
most of the
I
movie
can
I just like
understand.
kind of wasn't buying it. I just wasn't buying into the characters, you know, like they.
I mean, you did say you turned your brain off and just watched it, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, okay, I did.
I feel like you really can't do that with this movie.
Well, okay, no, I
Because
didn't. I
because
didn't
it's
turn my
because what you
brain off.
said.
No.
That's what you said, but what I'm trying to say is this movie, and you already said it yourself, is just exposition of the movie basically, and I think it's actually really important. Uh, yeah, they tell you everything that's going to happen, and it does happen, except for the ending scene that you have to kind of interpret what happens. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like everything you're saying about this movie, I kind of like about it. Everything you don't like is
That's
I kind of
that's
dig.
that's kind
Um,
of a thing. It that's just
did you?
Nolan.
I'm ki-
That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nolan for me. You know, I my
That's
favorite Nolan movies are like the least Nolan movies. You know, like we've talked
oh,
about Dunkirk. I
excuse me.
posted right here. I've had it on here every single podcast. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I'm obsessed with this movie, and I just rewatched it the other day, and it's even better than I remembered. This movie's a fucking masterpiece, and it's the least Nolan movie of all. And I think that's
Wait, can you say
the
that?
reason why I love it so much. What do you mean
Hmm.
by that?
Nothing. I was making a joke.
Oh, cringe. Yikes. My bad. Nice joke. Nice joke, buddy.
yeah, I guess I find that really interesting. When I go into a Nolan movie, I expect Nolan to go Nolan. I think that's why I was surprised on my first scene of Dunkirk. I was like, oh, this is definitely different. And then when I watched this movie, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, this is awesome.
Hmm.
But I
And
just
that
don't know
is,
what the fuck is going on.
yeah, that that is why I do enjoy a lot of the action, like I said, and I still do think, like
Yeah,
And, and fight
go
scene
ahead.
when
though.
last week when I
Yeah,
talked about the fucking
we haven't talked about most of the big action scenes. We only talked about the fight scene.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Realistic.
I'm curious on what your guys' opinions on some of them. So, but go ahead.
I what I was meaning though is like it's just this feels like every other Nolan movie. I basically think like every Nolan movie almost feels like a 7 out of 10 to me almost. Not all of them, except for like the top three probably for me, top 3 or 4. But like
Right.
it just feels like a standard Nolan movie where I don't care about the writing and I don't care about the characters, but the plot's cool and the visuals are cool, and that is enough to entertain me. And I'd say it's enough to keep me engaged and want to rewatch this movie for sure. Like there's a lot of aspects in this movie that make me want to rewatch it, but
Yeah, I recommend it.
I feel like those aspects make me want to rewatch it in a sense of clarification, maybe, not like I want to dive deeper into this character, into themes, and like what the purpose of this movie is. Like I want to rewatch it just to figure out what's going on, which has its merits in
Yeah.
a way, but that's not really my type of thing, I guess. Always.
Yeah. With that, when I first came on the movie, my first time seeing it, I was like, how do I give this a grade? I feel really incomplete with this.
I think your mic just unplugged.
No, did it?
It sounds weird. Fucking yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, you're back
Hello?
again.
That's what I was saying. What was I saying? I completely forgot.
I don't know.
Shit.
I honestly,
Uh,
I completely lost the track of what we were talking about. About the first time you watched Tenet. I don't know.
oh yeah, if I came out of it feeling incomplete, I was like, how do I grade this?
Hmm.
My second time coming out, um, I just got a lot more out of it because seeing it a second time was very cool. Because you know how it shows that it tells you at the end that Robert Patterson and John David Washington have had this long relationship, and this is just the start for John David.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool to see like the way Patterson was looking at
The way he interacts with him, his that is the one thing that I think is super interesting. Robert Pattinson's performance is so intricate. I think, it is really interesting looking back on those ways of how he interacts with the protagonist character. It's like, oh, like that makes sense because they've been buddies for a long ass time. You know, like that's cool,
mm,
and I enjoy that a lot.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how they start that and show throughout the movie that Robert Pattinson fully understands John David, his motivations and stuff. Like they don't even argue. They hardly even like argue in the movie. There's one point where John David's like, "What aren't you telling me?" And Robert Pattinson is like, "It is what it is." He says that a lot. It is what it is. It'll just be that way, which I think is an interesting thing where like, how do you defy choosing something like a free will or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was a giant thing throughout the movie. I thought it was very
Yeah.
interesting.
I do want to talk a
We
little
haven't.
bit. Sorry. I want to go. I want to go kind of
Go
in
ahead.
Neil's character. Something that we haven't touched on at all. A little conspiracy theory that I think I'm kind of on board with. That I think is interesting. That Neil
Theory.
Neil is Kat's son, Max. Neil is Elizabeth Debicki character's son, grown up.
Oh, okay.
Have you thought about that or heard anything about this kind of theory?
Hmm.
He's like a John Connor kind of. No, I haven't heard that. That's definitely like one of those theories that you hear from
You
like.
want to break
I
it
feel like we
down?
get a
I
bunch of yeah. Why don't you break it
Yeah,
down? Go ahead.
I think it's I definitely, this was not obviously a thing I thought about until kind of once it ended, and even then, right when the movie got out, we were kind of walking out of the movie, and my dad was like, "Hey, do you think that Neil is Elizabeth Debicki's son? Like, is that what they're implying at that?" Like,
Shout
no,
out.
shut the fuck up. No, like that's that's stupid. You're delusional. And then I kind of sat on it for a few hours, and then I kind of listened to this other podcast that brought up that same idea potentially, and I was kind of getting more on board with it.
It's
And there's honestly not a lot of concrete like these things really prove towards it. But honestly, the main thing that I remember that kind of made me feel like it, and the only reason I think this way is because it's Nolan, and because how this movie is a palindrome like and everything. This would totally make sense. The kid's name is Max in the movie. The full name of Max, Maximilian. The last four letters of Maximilian reversed is Neil.
Ah,
and
whoa,
I'm
full
gonna and I'm
conspiracy.
gonna be honest. That is something that is like, to me, I was like, okay, like that sounds like something Nolan would do completely, especially in this movie. How everything is like supposed to be palindromes. Like there's so many like hidden palindromes throughout the movie. You see John David Washington's character doing pull-ups. Pull-up is a palindrome. Um, um, there's other shit in the movie. Obviously the stuff with the Sator Square and the name Tenet and everything. There's just a bunch, and how the movie kind of works is all a palindrome, and that's kind of the idea behind the movie, basically. And so that to be fair, that's full on conspiracy theory, I will admit, but I
no,
I think it's kind of cool.
no. It's
I,
definitely
I
interesting.
think it makes it. I don't know if it like makes the movie more interesting, but like with everything else with the movie, like with all the palindrome stuff in it, with all the time travel stuff, I hear that and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, nice. That's it. Nice, cool. Doesn't it's a cool thing, but it doesn't make me care about the characters
I
of
think
the
that's.
story anymore, you know? But they are definitely just interesting things that I think is cool to talk about, definitely.
I'm confused. Well, I don't know. But I think it's interesting you brought up the palindrome again. I think the plane scene. I don't know yet. I have to like see the timestamps for everything, but I think the plane scene happened. If you like took the time to the plane scene and the time from the end of the movie to the last plane scene, I think they were probably around the same time as each other.
Hmm.
I could be wrong, but they felt like very close to
Interesting.
uh, from the end and from the beginning of the movie. And it was either that or the opera was the palindrome of the last scene.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. It was just something I was thinking
There,
in my head
there's a
through the
ton of
second
like
viewing.
story elements and tiny things that I don't even know the tip of the iceberg of it,
Yeah.
of how much shit there is, with all the
Um.
hidden palindrome stuff throughout the movie. That is cool, but that's it.
Can we talk about some of the action shit? Can we get
Yes,
away
for
from the
sure.
story stuff a
Yes,
little bit?
yes, yes.
That fucking bungee jump scene was the coolest. That reverse bungee jump
So
system
cool.
was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah,
Another
that
thing
shit was really cool. Definitely.
that blew, that was a jaw
And they're like
dropper.
running up the building. That shit looked so cool.
Yes,
The
the
scenes when this movie goes like full James Bond is fucking awesome. Like this is
more like Mission
Nolan.
Impossible.
This is Nolan's James Bond movie. Sadly, he
Oh,
was the
interesting.
lamest name for his character, the protagonist. I feel like this could have been the beginning to a cool series, perhaps. Maybe it still
Wait,
is,
wait,
and I still think it could be cool. But
wait. Side question. Why do you think I think that was cool that his name was the protagonist. Um,
I found it
that
really,
he kept on referring to. Go
whenever,
ahead.
so when I was watching the movie, I didn't realize that his name was the protagonist. I
He
just
just called himself
the,
that.
the fact that they never like call him by name or anything like that. I don't know. It just kind of blew past me. I didn't even notice. And then when I looked at the credits, I'm like, oh, he's credited as the protagonist. But every single time throughout the movie, like you're saying, he constantly says shit about how he's the protagonist of the story and shit like that. I
Yeah.
I couldn't help but laugh at those moments. I don't know why, but
Really?
hearing this guy, I am the protagonist. I'm the protagonist of my own story. It for some reason that just it felt
It's
so
it,
corny and dumb to me
okay.
and just made me laugh. But I enjoyed it though. That's the thing. Is like that was one of the aspects that I enjoyed about the movie is the corniness of like his character, and it honestly it makes more sense with the corniness of the fucking villain. That I think that he's incredibly corny and lame. It almost makes more sense, but it's still like I think these characters are really corny. It's just that name.
All right.
I just think I just think it's dumb. I don't see the
Would
purpose
you,
of it. Like
right.
it doesn't add anything to it for me. It's more just like it makes those
It
scenes of
definitely.
him calling himself the protagonist a little bit funnier to me. But that's that's all it does.
I think it's actually kind of cool that Nolan finally, without like being so subtle about it, basically was just telling you, yeah, this movie is about like film editing and whatnot. And I think it was funny that he put the
I guess
protagonist as the
I want to hear you talk about that a little.
I just think it's I
The
just think it's
fact.
very
No,
interesting.
I mean the fact that you're saying that the movie's kind of about film and it's about like film editing and movie making
Uh,
and stuff like that.
I think a
I don't see
lot
that.
of
I want
Nolan
to hear
films
what you mean by that.
really.
Do you mean just
Yeah,
because
so
it's like such a technical like the editing is really cool, I think, but I feel like
no,
the movie
like
is specifically about.
no, like
Uh,
Inception's basically about like making a movie, right? And throughout his other movies, you see other substances of like filmmaking in like dialogue or in storytelling that he's done. But specifically in Inception, you have like your producer, you have your whatever they call them, like the people that would
the
imagine the
archetype,
puzzles and stuff.
yeah,
Those are
architect,
exactly the archetype
yeah.
and stuff like that.
I just
And
rewatched
then you have
Inception the other day.
your
Also, really
director
enjoyed
and
it.
like your main character. Um, and I see this a lot in Tenet, especially with John David as the protagonist. But I see it as uh, showing film editing, like specifically, I would say the scene in the opera house um, where it shows him running through. Uh, I don't know what the name of the guy was, but the person they were saving. It shows
I don't
them
know.
basically going back and forth into this closet where they find the first part of the algorithm, going back to the guy telling him to stay asleep, uh, while everything else is going on, and you get a really good sense of what's going on, even if it's like
Hmm.
2 minutes of the very beginning of the movie, and then I think it just shows um, Nolan put a lot of thought into uh, how he wanted to structure his characters, how he wanted to I don't know, just
Okay. I can see that a little bit more. I definitely see it in Inception. I totally agree with that. And I get it. I think I hadn't thought about that previously, and that does add another interesting layer to the movie that actually is really cool. I think that does make a lot of sense, but in the end, it's another kind of one of those things where it's like, cool, nice, you know.
it is
I,
cool.
I do think that is cool and nice.
It's like
The thing is, I do think that's really cool and nice, but it
yeah,
doesn't change the movie for me. But I do think that is a really
you know
interesting perspective to look at it, though.
you know what I thought was really fucking cool?
Huh.
That scene where they were reverse blowing up that building at the very end.
Dude, that shit's
I
so
was like,
cool.
going up on
I
the
wonder how they did
and
that
then
shit, but
going up on the
that
bottom.
that was so cool.
That was I've
That
never seen that.
that whole last scene of like the pincer maneuver, the temporal pincer maneuver, was really fucking cool. Especially like the visuals in that scene with the people going reverse and back and the shit blowing up and going back, and it was
Mm.
really cool. And I cannot wrap my brain around even beginning to think about how I would film a scene like that, or like the fucking car chase scene. Oh my god! Like
Yeah,
it's just
that had to be the coolest
so
scene in the movie.
impressive. I think it's
When they
it's really
when the
crazy.
window comes down and you see Elizabeth Debicki's character being basically held at gunpoint by Kenneth Branagh, just
Hmm.
showing that with him like holding the oxygen mask up to him, I had
Hmm.
chills for some reason. That was so fucking cool.
I agree. That was
And
a
then the
really
way
cool
they
scene.
wrap the way they wrapped the end of that scene, showing John David going back and basically switching out the algorithm, I thought that was very
Hmm.
cool too. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys
Uh,
think of Aaron Taylor Johnson in this movie? He wasn't really
Dude,
in much of this movie.
I did
It was
not
cool seeing
realize
him.
that was him. I completely didn't realize that was him.
Oh, really?
When the fucking credits started rolling and I saw his name, I was like, "What?" And I actually had to
Yeah, he's
pull
got
up
a.
the IMDb. I was like, "What character is this?" And I saw the name. I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, I guess I would have to say a great
He does.
fucking performance for him. I didn't really think much of that character or the performance, but I completely did not realize that was him. And I love Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, it took me a little bit. I was like, that's Aaron Taylor Johnson, which I
Yeah.
found out. He has got giant beard. He looks fucking. He's got jacked in this movie. He looks awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He looks like a badass for sure in this movie, and he's great
Yeah.
in it. Absolutely. I can't
No.
believe I completely missed out on it. Um, Great character, definitely. Michael Caine's little
Also,
role in this movie. Shout out to Michael Caine. Obviously, he has to appear in all of Nolan's movies, basically. Um, and actually, I want to touch on this a little bit. That would be really, really cool. I'll, again, listen to some other podcast about Tenet, and they brought up the idea about, or not the idea, John David Washington, his last line to Michael Caine's character as he's leaving him is "Goodbye, Sir Michael." Um, and that, if, oh, hold on, are you here?
it's good. It's fine.
Hello?
Oh, I think we cut out for a little bit, but you guys all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good now.
Good. All right, cool. Sorry. Yeah, his final or line before he leaves Michael Caine is "Goodbye, Sir Michael." And if this ended up being the last movie with Michael Caine that
That's it.
Nolan does, that would be incredibly touching fucking send off. That I think would just it's just something that's
Wait, is that
cool.
something that's been confirmed? I haven't heard
No,
that.
no, 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 no. It's not.
Oh,
But it's just the fact that his last line to him is "Goodbye, Sir Michael." And the character in the movie, his name is Michael, and also it's played by Sir Michael Caine. It almost
interesting.
like Nolan saying goodbye to him finally. Um,
Interesting.
it's just it's sad almost. I don't.
Yeah.
It's sad to think
I
about.
I
Michael
think
Caine's
it
on the end of his. He's an old man. And it's
definitely an old soul.
I hope
I think it's
I
really cool that Nolan kind of brought Michael Caine back into the forefront. He used to be a big actor back in his time, but in recent times, old Michael Caine is brought back, and he's like well known as Alfred and everything. But he's just well known for being in like Nolan movies, and I think that's a cool thing Nolan's done for his career.
yeah I guess I don't know all of Michael Caine's career, so I don't know if it really did kind of slump in a way of just like prospects and actual like jobs between kind of his heyday beforehand and when he started working with Nolan. But the way that Nolan uses him in his movies and the like figure that he's kind of become in pop culture in a way through Nolan, I think is really incredible.
Hmm.
And I mean, I fucking love Michael Caine, and he is great in basically all of Nolan's movies that he's in. Um, and I just that's my favorite thing about Nolan's movies is seeing Michael Caine in them. You know?
Yeah. If anyone wants to go see like old Michael Caine movies, which there are so many,
Yeah.
highly recommend The Italian Job, and I
Ooh.
highly recommend Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Okay.
Those are two of my favorite like Michael Caine movies.
Right on. I'm
Young
a big
Michael
fan of
Caine.
The Italian Job. I love The
Hmm.
Italian Job. That is a crazy movie. I haven't seen. What was the other one called? I actually haven't seen that.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Okay.
It's with
Um.
yeah, it's with Steve Martin.
Okay.
Really
Right
good.
on. Right on. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I'm excited to start watching some different movies because this past basically week and a half has just been me frantically rewatching all of Nolan's movies and finally catching the ones that I hadn't seen and just fucking trying to think about them and trying to put them in a ranked list, which I've had a great time doing, and I love Nolan's movies for the most part, but I'm excited to kind of get back to watching weird art house shit that I like. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Oh, did I tell you Paris, Texas on HBO? I fucking watched that shit.
You
Amazing.
did. Oh
Yeah.
god, Paris, Texas, bro. What a fucking
Yeah.
movie. That was probably
Longest. It was long movie though. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty
it.
long,
It
but
it
it was good.
definitely is, but I wouldn't cut out a second of that movie. I that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies for sure. Harry Dean
Yeah.
Stanton gives one of the most beautiful, gut wrenching performances I've ever seen.
Right.
Really, that
Uh.
whole little bit of spoilers, I guess, for Paris, Texas. Not really, but the scene when he's talking with his wife and at the end with the reverse shots with the mirror and like his face on the mirror and shit like that, like are just burned into my
Mm-hmm.
like those are just like the most depressing shots ever. Love that movie. Gus
Mm-hmm.
act, but man, shout out Paris, Texas by
Shout out
Wim
Paris,
Wenders.
Texas.
I need to check out more Wim Wenders
Straight up.
movies. I don't know why I haven't. He has a
Right.
there's a collection of his movies in the Criterion channel that I've been waiting to dive into, but I just haven't yet. But maybe I will soon.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Did you guys have any other thoughts about Tenet?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Elijah, you got any kind of closing thoughts you want to go over on Tenet?
What?
You got
What?
you got your closing thoughts you want to kind of go over on Tenet? Just some final thoughts about it.
No, I mean I already talked about it. I enjoyed it. Um, Standard Nolan movie was enjoyable. I like the action scenes a lot.
Yeah, that's basically how I feel about it. I like I said, I do think it's a little. I do rate it a little bit higher just because of how cool those fucking action scenes are and how much I just am an absolute fanboy for Rob Pattinson. I've been with him in my um, actual in the closet days when Twilight was coming out when I was young, not realizing why I was so obsessed with those movies and Rob Pattinson. And I've been obsessed with him ever since. He makes great movies. I actually just watched this compilation on YouTube the other day. It was this 50-minute compilation of a bunch of famous directors basically just gushing about Rob Pattinson for 50 minutes. They had like Claire Denis in it, Werner Herzog in it, Christopher Nolan in it, Robert Eggers, Daniel Meekod. I think that's how you say it. But shout out to that little video. Shout out to Rob Pattinson. You think he's easily the best part about this movie. I like I said, I do give this movie a 7 out of 10. There's some issues, but I really do think this movie is just really enjoyable. Your camera's kind of going crazy there, Nick. But you there? Oh, we don't hear you, Nick. Alright, I think he's gonna go reset there a little bit. I'm just gonna cut this out. We'll just wait until he actually gets back. Nick? Are you there? Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
That's fine. I'm cutting this whole little part out anyway. Doesn't matter.
Tenet, interesting movie.
Tenet, good movie, yes.
I honestly agree with the whole, like the inverse stuff. It's like it's a cool mechanic, but I don't know. And like his other movies, he didn't need something like that to make it so cool and interesting.
Oh, Nick, you back?
Is that working?
I hear you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Closing
All
thoughts
right.
on Tenet?
Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna edit all that out. That was a bit of time. Hold on. I'll kind of. All right. Sorry. Kind of back. Nick kind of had to cut out for a little bit, but those are my kind of closing thoughts on Tenet. I think it's cool, but doesn't really do much for me. But it's definitely a visual spectacle that I'm excited to rewatch, just purely for how fun it is. Nick, you know, closing thoughts.
I thought it was really good. I haven't given my rating. I would probably be. I don't really like the number rating, but if I had to, I'd give it a 9. That's like an A minus, A for me. Shout out Hamish Patel. He's in this movie for a short.
Yeah.
brief period,
Yes.
but he's awesome. This movie's really sick. It's gonna take me one more viewing, probably with subtitles to get the full thing.
Yeah,
'cause
I definitely want to watch
most-
this with subtitles.
Yeah. But after the second viewing, I fell in love with this movie. It's really good. And yeah, that's what I have to say about Tenet.
Right on. Yeah, I definitely think I think I would enjoy this movie on a second viewing. So that's why I am sad I didn't get to end up catching it before we did this review of it. But I think this movie is definitely a movie that benefits from rewatches, and I definitely think it could go up higher on my list right now. I have it.
Did you not like it when you first watched it?
No, I did. I thought it was all right, and then it, like I said, and then it ended, and it kind of recontextualized stuff from it, and I still did enjoy some of those action set pieces, but I think I think I will enjoy it a lot more when I'm not so focused on laser analyzing what the fuck is happening, you know, trying to follow the plot. But I do think it is an enjoyable movie. I have my Nolan ranked list up on my Letterboxd. You can check that out. And when I actually end up rewatching Tenet, I'll have my re-review up on it on there with its revised spot, whether it goes up or down on it. But we'll see. I'm
Can we
yeah.
can we just reveal what our 10 is on our list?
Yeah, sure.
I'm curious.
We'll kind of run down it right now because obviously, you guys know the podcast listeners because I'll be adding a clip in earlier, but we did record this second half before we did the first half, so we don't know technically our top tens, but if we wanted to run them down real quick right now as we're closing, my top 10 is
You go for it.
Dunkirk, The
Go for it.
Prestige, Inception, Insomnia, Following, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, Tenet, Dark Knight, Interstellar, Memento. And I understand
Should I
that
go?
it's a controversial list, but obviously.
I don't know. I feel I can go anyway with Nolan.
Yeah, you want to run down yours?
Yeah, from 1 to 11. Actually, I'll just go. Yeah, 1 to 11. My favorite Nolan movie is The Prestige. I love that movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. Dark Knight, Interstellar, Inception, Tenet, Dunkirk, Memento, Insomnia, Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, and Following. Yeah.
Cool. And Elijah, do you want to do a rundown real quick?
Oh shit, yeah. Of just where Tenet is.
Just do it. Just run down your list off the bottom.
Okay, yeah. Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Following, Memento, the first Batman, Tenet, Prestige, the last two Batmans, and Insomniac.
Insomnia.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Yep. So obviously.
I rewatched Insomnia last week. So
Yeah. I saw it for the first time last week, and I agree that movie is really fucking awesome. But we will talk about that later once we actually record the first half of this episode, and everyone will hear that.
Hey, you can't expose us. You can't expose us like that.
It's okay.
That's the magic of editing.
Just like Tenet, we will be reversing.
Just like we actually already talked about our top 10s. We're in the right.
Wait a second.
Did you already listen to this podcast actually?
Yeah, we talked about it 2 days ago in the past.
Yes, of course.
2 days forward. 2 days forward in the past.
It's Thursday right now, but the episode's actually going to be coming out on Monday.
Yeah, the Monday.
It will be in 2 parts.
Oh yeah. Anyway, it's gonna close up our review of Tenet. Thanks for joining in. You can check me out on my social media, In the Closet WJN on Instagram or Twitter, or at JacobNestor568 Instagram, Letterboxd. You'll see all the movie I've been watching, see all the ranked shit, obviously catch up and see if I adjust Nolan list. You can also check out the podcast on any podcast search you're listening to, Anchor, Spotify, anything. Obviously, huge shout outs to Anchor for putting this podcast on anything available. Also, the video cast is up on YouTube. Hopefully, it's a little bit better this week. Last week, it ended up turning out like a slideshow. Not really sure what happened, but that's kind of the podcast. Every episode is scuffed and fucking weird, but it ends up working out. We got the content out. We talked about it. We're good. You got anything else you want to shout out?
Yo, Oregon's on fire. That shit is whack.
Yo, Oregon is on fire right now. It's fucking scary, dude. It's
huge shout out to the firefighters out there doing what they can in this horrible time. It's really fucking crazy what's going on in Oregon and
they're badass.
And just like the whole West Coast.
Yeah.
Massive shout out to anyone out there who's doing anything that they can during these times, and hopefully we can get these fires under control.
Yeah, I don't know how many people it's gonna reach, but there are, like, in your town, there at your fairgrounds, there will be people there with livestock and with people that are lost their homes in the fire, and they need volunteers to like hand out food and supplies and whatnot. So if you're able to, I highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. Yeah, huge shout out to anyone doing anything that they can with these fires, definitely. And also a huge shout out to Nick's letterbox that he doesn't post on Nick_sailing. Shout out to that. Let's see. Maybe we can go another week without Nick vlogging a movie. I don't know.
I've literally watched so much this past week.
I know.
I have so much shit I could be writing about on Letterboxd. I really just choose not to.
No, I get
I got a
it.
full-time job. Give me a break.
Whatever. Elijah, you got anything else anything you want to shout out?
Nope.
You don't want your Twitch channel? You got
I ain't nobody. Cut the
Yeah.
podcast.
Cut it. We got
True.
nothing.
Got
That's
it
the end
right
of the
there.
show. Get out of here. All right. We'll see you next
I
week.
feel that heavy, bro. I am nobody. Like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't care about me.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
nothing
get out of
special.
here.
Yeah, honest to God.
Get the
All
fuck
right.
out.
Yeah, all right. See you guys next week. Thanks.
All right. Peace out.